All right, cool. Let me go on my Instagram and go live on it. What's going on, y'all? What's good? What's going on? Y'all see the topic for right now, at least. Y'all see what the topic is. You can go ahead and start dropping your questions. Ask me anything. All right, y'all. So tonight I'm running an Ask Me Anything type of thing. There we go. All right, y'all. So tonight I'm gonna be running an Ask Me Anything. We'll return to the debates on we'll turn to debates on Monday. Actually, no, I'll take Monday off. Coming Tuesday, we'll return to debates. Today's more of an Ask Me Anything because people typically tend to ask me questions in the comments. So this is going to be one of the few times I'm actually going to chat to the comments. So if you actually have any questions, you can go ahead and ask me anything. Why do so many black people have what I diagnose as pneumonia? What would you describe pneumonia as? Like, basically, like being part of, like, the Abrahamic faiths. If you're talking about like being part of the Abrahamic faiths, a lot of it just has to do with colonialism. Now, of course, when it comes to the eastern part of Africa, hey Shelly, how's it going? Oh, when you believe that you're an Israelite, that all of that really, in my opinion, has to do with it has to do with white supremacy. Essentially, it has to do with a lot with white supremacy. Essentially, black people on this side of the world, we were promoted the image of Africa of being inferior, and we were promoted an image of having like a proud African heritage, as of course not only just being inferior but being low intellect, things like that, and we were hidden like a lot of the history of Africa. So because of that, I think a lot of that is where the true Israelite thing comes from. And of course, it's the Abrahamic faith as well, Christianity and Islam and things like that. I think what a lot of these people want is that they're searching for like meaning and stuff like that, but also the fact that Christianity was pushed onto Christianity was pushed onto black people so hard, and there's also like what used to go around in a lot of black circles, like the whole curse of Ham thing, because all that was pushed onto the black community so hard that in order to like kind of escape it, essentially as a form of escapism, they just say that, hey, we're not these lowly enslaved people, we're the quote unquote Israelites, if that makes sense. It's a need to be special, essentially. All right, over on YouTube, they ask why am I bald. I'm bald because like women like bald men. So because women liked me so much, like all my hair fell out. That's the reason why I'm bald. All right, Jay asks, wow, can there be anything else wrong with you? Yeah, there could be a lot of things wrong with me. I could be you, Jay. I could be you. So that's why that's something else that could be wrong with me. If I was you, Jay, I would be there would be a lot of things wrong with me. Like I would be jealous. I would have a small peewee. I wouldn't have a wife and a child on the way. I wouldn't be successful in life. So yeah, Jay, if I was you, then there'll be a lot wrong with me. Yeah. All right, y'all. Go ahead and keep liking it live and keep sharing it. I do want to go ahead and do an Ask Me Anything tonight. Y'all can actually request or come up, or you can still have Stockholm syndrome. Believe that, master. Yeah, facts. All right, y'all. Go ahead and keep liking it live and keep sharing it. If you have any questions for me, then go ahead and drop your questions. Naruto fan over on my YouTube. I already told you why I'm bald for. Trent, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going, y'all? Hey Ash, I appreciate the follow. I appreciate the follow. All right, y'all. I have a gift goal and I do have a subscription goal. Y'all go ahead and subscribe. Y'all go ahead and post the gifts. Y'all go ahead and gift me up. Go ahead and subscribe. Like a milk dud. Yeah, yeah, I do have the milk dud going on, but hey, my wife likes it. My wife likes it, so yeah, I love the milk dud. But yeah. So y'all have any other questions on any of these topics? I'm a non-believer. I am a leftist, and I am Pan-African. If y'all have any questions on those, don't be afraid to ask me. Shout out to everyone who's watching on the YouTube, on the Instagram. Well, the Instagram hasn't pulled anyone in yet. On the Twitch, what's Pan African? Pan African is an ideology of unity of people of sub Saharan African descent, essentially. It's a movement of social, political, and economic independence of African people away from the colonial mindset. Can we bring Africa to America? Let me answer the first person first. So Pan African is what we believe is that it's not that everyone is exactly the same. So of course, black people are not a monolith. Even within Africa, there are thousands of different cultures. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Pan Africanism, it's not about we all just amalgamate into one simple thing, because even on this side of the world, there are differences between different people. Like for example, I'm Haitian. That culture is slightly different from Jamaican people. That culture is slightly different from African Americans. That culture is slightly different from people in Trinidad. That culture is slightly different from people in South America, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I mean? So Pan African doesn't mean that we all amalgamate and we're just all one thing, but it does mean that we do have a shared history and we have a lot of commonality between us. And because of that, we should seek more social, political, and economic power and independence away from our old colonial mind frame and masters, if that makes sense. John asked, can we bring Africa to America? First of all, Africa needs to unite better first. And I'm not even sure how to do that, because there's like hundreds of years of rivalry there that that they need to get through and get over. I think what's going on in Africa right now is what was going on in Europe, well, for hundreds of years. For thousands of years, Europeans were always going at each other. So what's happening in Africa now is the exact same thing. The only difference is that Europe was able to build itself up through things like slavery and imperialism, and Africa just is still dealing with the brunt of things like slavery till this day. No, my name is not Washington. I'm not Afro-American. I'm actually Haitian, but we're added into the Afro-American sphere, and which I don't mind. So you don't believe in something, right? So you have to believe in something, right? Yeah, Bill Hodges, we do have to believe in something, but I don't necessarily believe in an almighty creator. I don't think there's any evidence for that, and I'm agnostic to it. I'm not saying it doesn't absolutely doesn't exist, but the same reason that you don't believe in leprechauns is the same reason I don't believe in the of God. John MC asks, you believe that there is a God? No, I don't. There is no such thing. That's the reality. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Rompy. Let's see. All religions think that their God is the absolute truth, but no one knows who's right. Yeah, I agree with that. No one really knows who's right. Oh, referring to black people in this country bringing Africa here. I think, what's up, Melo Sakbase? I think a lot of us actually, I think a lot of us actually have. Now, I'm not African American, so I don't want to speak to for African American culture, but from what I've seen with Haitians and with a lot of African American traditions, a lot of pieces of Africa still retain. You know what I mean? A lot of it's still there. So it's I think we can, you feel me? But it's just going to take a lot more fine tuning and details to see. Give me a second, y'all, because I have a racist in my comments. The racists are always coming to the comments, so give me a second, y'all. I just got to go ahead and block the person. All right, cool. Do you believe in matter, like the material world? Can you explain consciousness? No, I can't. If you need someone to explain consciousness to you, you should talk to a neuroscientist. The atheist leftist Pan-African makes the ghetto the worst place to live. All right, G Unit. Let's go ahead and block G Unit. You know what? I don't understand. I actually did have a guest. I'm not sure what happened to the guest. but I had a guest who was gonna come up. I'm not sure what happened to him. But one thing that confuses me is that atheists, all I mean, not atheists. I was gonna say atheists. Racists always come to my comments and just yap and yap and yap. If y'all don't like us so much, why y'all always on our profiles and our comments, and why do y'all come here? Like, you never see me over in, like, KKK type of lives and neo-Nazi lives, because I don't care about y'all that much. I actually do have a guest. Let's see. Hey, Mello, how's it going? Like, I don't go over to neo-Nazi lives and talk to them, like, and be in their comments. Like, I don't do that because I don't care about y'all like that. Like, I don't understand why I always come into black folks' lives and always talking. Mellows, I got
How you
that.
doing, sir?
I'm
I'm
alright. I'm
live,
alright.
man. Come on here, fam.
I'm alright. I'm alright.
I like the live. I was just strolling through. I like the idea. So, do you believe about like our culture as the Haitian and the spirituality that used to connect us directly to the divine?
Like, what do you mean?
Like creation itself, it came from some.
Whoop! I think he got a call.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
No,
was
not a
saying,
problem.
I was saying creation itself, like
Hmm.
like they say, in E equal MC square. Energy cannot be like created. It could be transferred. It could never be destroyed. Like it could be in all places and all time. That's why some just take it and mask it up and tell you God, omnipresent, omnipotent. Every culture say it different, but it's like everybody tell you there's like one supreme source of energy that created everything. Can we all agree with that one?
No. I don't think that there's any type of supreme creator or anything like that.
Okay, please inform me. I'm trying to learn about your analogy.
Well, why is there existence, or how did existence come to be? I don't know. I have no clue. But to posit like a supernatural creative thing that deliberately made everything, I don't see any evidence for that being the case. Like, the entire universe could just be a series of natural processes that we don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I always say this: throughout all of humanity, every natural process on this planet that we couldn't understand, we always blamed it on gods first, like, earthquakes, volcanoes, storms, tornadoes. Every culture always said that those were gods, right? And then as we got better and progressed in humanity, we always saw that these were just natural processes of the planet that we just didn't understand yet. You know what I mean? So I see no reason for the universe to not be the same thing. Existence itself could just be a natural process. It doesn't have to be anything supernatural or divine.
Okay, I like your analogy. Now, are you open for debate?
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
For 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 a few
As,
minutes. This more of an ask me anything type of thing, but yeah,
yeah,
for a few
it's
minutes.
not. I'm not trying to attack you or like go against your character or what's your belief or anything.
Gotcha.
Because we
Give
both
me.
Asians.
I'm sorry.
Go
Give me
ahead.
1 second. Hey, Brian. Yeah. Atheist leftist Pan African loser. I'm wondering who the loser is, because the only loser here I see here is yourself and your mom for giving birth to you. But yeah, Mello, go ahead and ask what you was gonna say. Mello, you there?
I think he muted himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. Now, by us, yes, on second chair. Now, but Papa, please calm down 1 second. All right. Hello. Uh, Now, by us both like being like from the Haitian origin and culture, and we know like spirituality exists in like the independence of our nation, being the first black nation. At a point that we had an emperor by Dessalines to rule the world, that he had deals that he made with the divine himself. That through our history, that explains it. That's the only reason I would sit back and say that maybe there's something somewhere, because we look at the life we live right now. Contract makes the law, so that means whatever you signed up for could enslave you at the end of the day, unless you're aware of what you're doing. Do you know like how to navigate in this universe in commerce? You hear that universe commerce? It's a sea, it's a wave. Like we seen gods of Egypt and stuff like that, how he flew into space trying to go to Ra. You saw he went to go get the eternal water. He had to go to another realm to get it. It wasn't here. So that's just the idea. I look at the movies, like you go to Black Panther and you look at the end of Black Panther, it shows you that the the king was risen again, except he was in Haiti. Like at the end of it, like it has so much subliminals. We could go on and on and on. You got like the end games with the adventure with like Thor and everything. When snap of a finger, everything got restart. What about if today, like if we go by the old calendar of like our beliefs, not I can't say our because we're not on the same page. My beliefs that the ancestors, the emperors, the real bloodline of the God, true divine God that created everything, I would go by. I would say Haiti would probably be the this a dream I had. Haiti would probably be announced the homeland. I'm saying like the Holy Land, and America would probably be like the Holy City, and governments of the world would probably the veil would be dropped in reality.
Okay, I mean when it comes to like the entire Haitian Revolution, I respect African traditional religions, Voodoo, Obia, Ifa, Santeria, all of that. I respect all of them because they come from us, right? They're not foreign to. They didn't come from anywhere else. They were indigenous to Africa. You feel me? So and they're indigenous to Black people. So I hold high regard and respect for them, and they're more than just religions. They're like an entire way of life. You feel me? So I do respect them, but as far as them actually being real, I'm not. I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'm open to these things being actually real because my wife practices. My wife is Jamaican and she practices, right? So like I'm open to them being real, but like until such evidence comes about, I have no reason to believe that.
My brother, you see, I turned my camera on. I practice. I got a brain tumor. I seen the city of gold. I seen the other side. I went home. I'm still looking for home. At this present time, I'm consenting and granting access and ordering for home to come get me. We
Okay,
are who
cool.
we are. Those who knows. Those who don't.
All right, cool. All right, I appreciate you being up here, though, man. I gotta go ahead and move on. I appreciate you, though.
All right, sir.
All right, have a good night. All right, Rev, how's it going?
I'm good, man.
All right. You had a question for me?
Yeah, I usually come up to atheist lives, I'll be honest, to debate them on the existence of God, but I really have a sincere, genuine question today.
Sure.
So, I was hearing you talking about respecting beliefs and stuff, or whatever belief you're talking about. Would you say that to a Christian that or anybody actually, any religion, you respect the person, but you don't respect their religion? Would you say that?
I would say that. Yeah, I respect the person, but I don't really respect the religion.
Okay, so I was thinking because I saw a video somebody reposted of that topic, and what if the religion? So, like me, an Orthodox Christian, I'm supposed to make this my lifestyle. This religion is teaching me to be better and do good things in life. Obviously, and worship God. Um, how do you not respect the religion? It's making me a better person.
Can the religion make someone a bad person?
It depends what the religion is telling them to do, or what it is supposed to be following.
Okay.
I could say that, yeah.
Yeah. So like that's why I don't need to respect it because a person like things like religion and political opinions, those are ideas you have. I don't need to respect ideas. I can respect the person. I respect you as a person. Like the fact that Christianity has helped you become a better person, that's great. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I need to hold it in any high regard. You could be a great person without it.
That's true, I could. Um, what was the other question I was going to? I was gonna follow up with what you were saying. Hold on.
Sure. Everything, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how's it going? Did you have a question for me?
Yeah, I had a question. I understand if you don't maybe believe in like a God, but do you believe in any form of a higher power?
No.
May I ask how you don't think?
Unless you believe like unless we're talking about like a metaphorical high power, like the will of
No, not
humanity to
even
do
with
good.
metaphorical. Like, let's put like for example, our government's already confirmed about alien existence and shit.
Oh, okay, stuff like that.
Do
Yeah,
you,
yeah. I mean,
do you not
not
think
not.
we could be an experiment?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, please.
Do you not think we could be an experiment?
Like humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess something like that could be possible. Like to be philosophically correct, like, yeah, that could be
I
possible. But at
mean,
the
if you
same
think
time,
about it, we have people who enter our atmosphere and whatnot in ways that defies the physics that we know,
hmm
which now we are starting to discover when you go into the quantum realm, which technically breaks our physics. So, wouldn't it not make sense that there is some form of higher power?
when you say higher power, like beings that are more intelligent than us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, sure. There could be some
I
beings
think
that are
people
intelligent than us.
mix religion sometimes with just like it could be a god, but then technically, like us to an ant, would an ant not consider us a god?
Yeah, yeah, it would definitely.
So these beings being so much more advanced to us, it is not impossible to think that these humans back then just saw them as gods. They didn't even know about science and shit.
No, no, I'm open to the idea. I'm not closed off to the idea. Like me and my friends have spoken about this before. That yeah, Jesus could have just been some alien. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not closed off to the idea that more intelligent like the whole ancient aliens thing. Even though I find it kind of ridiculous, like I'm
How
not
though?
closed off to the idea.
Now that they've released military footage of them, how could you think it's still ridiculous?
Like
We're
of
talking
aliens.
about military pilots who have had we're talking about war heroes, medals, shot down
Right,
on
right.
the
Hold,
war.
no, hold on.
Who said that they
No,
couldn't-
wait, hold on. I think you misunderstood what I said. I'm not closed off to the idea that aliens could exist and that they're more intelligent than us, and compared to us, they could be gods. Like I'm not closed off to that idea. The idea that I'm kind of like I find kind of ridiculous is that aliens built the pyramids and built the places in Africa and stuff like that.
I think
I find that kind of
that
stupid.
part's ridiculous.
But
Obviously, I think whoever
right.
I think
But
whatever humanity was here actually built that.
build that, exactly.
think they
But
were-
I'm not opposed to the idea that there are aliens out there who could be smarter than us, and compared to us, they're probably gods.
Well,
Yeah,
my thing
I'm not,
too
I'm not
is that
opposed to that.
I also think it's possible they can exist in another realm, pretty much.
Like
Which is
like fifth dimensions and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not closed off to
pretty
that
much
idea.
like exactly where dark matter exists, for example.
Yeah, I'm not closed off to that idea. Yeah, I'm not closed off
So
to
if
that.
these beings
It's just
exist in that realm, wouldn't that technically make them a god of a higher plane?
right. No, I'm not opposed to that. If I'm saying, like, I think the god thing that I'm opposed to is things like Zeus and stuff like that, like magical creatures.
Well,
But if
at
it's
the
like
same time-
a physical being that can do science that is magical to us, then yeah, that could be technically
I
a
wouldn't
god.
say magical. I don't
but-
want to get off like the realms of reality and talk about magic because what they're doing there is like I'm saying with the flying saucers and whatnot. They're like right now we just made a big breakthrough in quantum computing where they just teleported information from one computer to another computer, thus making it to where we could stack these quantum computers. Like we are literally in the realm of we are teleporting shit. We are doing science fiction shit that would be considered like fake back.
We are. Yeah, we are. It's
So as
incredible.
we go deeper into this, is it really out of hand to really think that they're because when you say Zeus and them, I think people maybe obviously with the gods thing, they run off with their stories, all like Hollywood. Hollywood has their big hand in that too. But to think that maybe that those beings from that other plane were among Earth at that time with humans, but then notice that hey, whatever the fuck we gave them, they blew themselves the fuck up because something happened. Something happened to our civilization, and it
Right.
doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense that a structure like the Sphinx can withstand so many hundreds of years of all that rain and shit and still be up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not closed off to the idea. Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely closed off to that idea. I don't see much evidence of it yet, but I'm not closed off to the idea.
I mean, my evidence will be the fact that we can't even figure out how those flying saucers that come into our atmosphere work, and they go straight into our water. Like there's video of it. They go into the water and they just stay down there. We know more about space than we know our own waters.
Oh, waters. Yeah, exactly. Yes, because it's too much pressure down there. So there could be secrets in the ocean that we haven't
Do
seen
you really
yet. So
think
yeah,
the pressure is the reason why we have not explored our oceans?
definitely, yeah, man. Because if the water itself is extremely heavy. Like what I mean, like a pool of water. Like only 12 feet deep is like a ton, or 5 tons actually. So water is very, very deep. Water is very, very heavy. So yeah, pressure like that is definitely the reason why we haven't explored it yet. But as technology gets better, we can definitely explore more. No doubt. But I'm not
feel
close
like
up to
we
that
have
idea.
no interest in exploring our waters, or not even.
Think so?
I would go a step farther to be like we were almost told not to exploit our waters.
Right. I wouldn't go that far, but like the only thing I would say is that I'm not closed off to the idea of us being visited by aliens and them being like godlike to us. I'm not closed off to that idea.
Yeah, that's all my thing was, because I get the whole religion thing. I don't think it's silly for people to pray and worship a god, but I do think that there is something to it, like, all that shit back then and whatnot. A lot of it makes too much sense for it to just be like bullshit when you get down to the unedited testaments of that shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, man. I believe.
That's all.
All right, not a problem. Everything. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. You have a wonderful day.
Not a problem. All right, SCG. I'm get to you next. Just give me a second because we have Michael crashing out in my comments asking what a Pan African is. Michael, I want you to go on your Google right now and type in pan suffix SUFFI suffix, yeah, SUFFIX to understand what a suffix means. Pan African just means encompassing an entire group, meaning like I don't. That doesn't mean that like Africans are as a whole are one homogenous thing, because there are definitely different cultures within Africa. So that, I'm not disrespecting that, but Pan African simply means that as a person of sub-Saharan African descent, I advocate for us to have more social, economic, and political autonomy and empowerment within ourselves, because for the past 100 years since the scramble for Africa, essentially, we haven't had that. So that's what being Pan-African is about. It's not about whatever you're talking about. All right. Who was next? SCG, how's it going?
Hey man, doing great. How are you?
I'm all right. How's it going? You got any questions for me?
I mean, yeah, I probably do have a couple. The first one I would like to address, I see that you're a Pan-African and a leftist. So, I'd like to ask you just your personal opinion. What do you think of us Eastern Europeans? Like, we are white and all, but we didn't have really a history of colonizing and exploiting other people. So, yeah, what's your opinion on us? And maybe specifically Serbians.
Eastern Europeans, it's a lot more foreign to me. Now I'll tell you the truth right now, right? A lot of stereotypes. There are a lot of stereotypes of Eastern European, like it's like the poorer parts of Europe. I think the reason why that is because you didn't engage in colonialism. You know what I mean? Because the western part of Europe did, and they were able to enrich themselves, and the eastern part of Europe kind of missed out on that. However, the other that's not a big problem for me. I don't think that's negative. That's good that you guys didn't engage in colonialism. But the negative things I've heard is that because people who look like myself, black people, are not seen around there a lot, there's a lot of ignorance of who we are, and that people interact with a lot of racism over in Eastern Europe, except for places like Montenegro, probably Greece. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of racism. I heard Serbia is not that bad, but places like the Czech Republic, I kind of don't want to go there. You know what I mean? Because I've heard dark skin is, especially how they think about the Roma people. You know what I mean? It's kind of over there. But I don't have a lot of negative ideas about Eastern Europe, other than that there's a history of like dictatorships happening over there, especially Hungary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dictatorships, and there's ignorance of who or what black people are, because we're just rare over there. But other than that, it's not really a bad thing. I don't have any like ill type of feelings towards Eastern Europe.
Yeah. I mean, generally over here, like in the West, like you're aware of what the stereotypes against the black people in the West are, and in Eastern Europe, when basically one stereotype against black people, which is not really against them, it's just, oh yeah, those guys have big, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I've heard it. I've heard from a where was she from? I think she was from Estonia, and she was like, "Yeah, you guys are fetish over there," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but yeah, I've heard of that."
Yeah. So, and another question I'd like to ask, like, why are you an atheist? Like, were you brought up a Christian, and later in life, was it like the scientific explanations, or like the moral ones, the philosophical ones, or were you maybe raised an atheist what turned you into an atheist?
Yeah, I was raised in a Christian household. My parents are like old school Pentecostal Christians. So, excuse me. Yeah, I was raised in a Christian household. I think I've always had questions. A lot of things in the Bible didn't make sense to me at first, so I started looking into them a lot more, and I found that the answers that Christians were giving me were not compelling. So I wanted to go ahead and look for answers to try to explain it, and I found out that a lot of these things, even Christians themselves, found like don't take these parts of the Bible actually seriously, like Noah's Ark, Adam and Eve, stuff like that. Those parts are probably most likely not real. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, if those parts are not real, and I had to ask myself what else could be like doubtful in the Bible or not real. You know what I mean? That's when I started finding out. That's when I started reading it for myself, because a lot of times I didn't read it for myself. So I started reading it for myself. I found contradictions, things that I didn't agree with, things that I said, you know what, like an almighty God would know better than to do something like that, or he would know better than to not know this would happen, et cetera, et cetera. So I started to really question it. And I went on a journey. You know what I mean? I went on a whole journey. So I kind of had to ask myself a question of, can I believe something is true if I have no evidence that it is true? And the answer to that was no. And also, what's the point of believing something if it doesn't have any purpose to my life? Like, I don't need it to have morals. I don't need to have virtues. I don't need it to, be a good person, have purpose, have meaning, have drive in my life, et cetera, et cetera. These things are not needed, so, or being a Christian is not needed to have those things, So I said, if I don't need it in my life, it doesn't have any utility, and I have no evidence that it's true, why believe it? So I just stopped believing it.
So yeah, can I just quickly give my perspective and maybe some suggestions if you're open to?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be quick. I won't take too much of your time. So yeah, I mean, I used to be an atheist. Yeah, but back in high school. So yeah, and I was raised Orthodox Christian, but generally, I'm from Montenegro, so it's not really that much of a religious environment. The northern part is, which is like where my family is originally from. Like, yeah, but wasn't too religious. Became an atheist, and I started looking up, Orthodox Christianity because I was brought up as that, but not really that religious. So yeah, I mean, I started reading some books, and generally, for the Bible specifically, there's a lot of ancient commentaries on it. Like, if you want to go with the intended reading of the Bible, this is probably the closest thing that you can get to. Like, people from the second, third, fourth centuries writing, like, verse by verse commentaries. This verse means that. This verse means that. And it helped me a lot. To I eventually returned. So yeah, they're just my perspective and my suggestion. If you're willing to, like, when you're out of time and you want to read something, you could perhaps read like the commentaries, like by Saint Gregory of Nyssa, Saint Ephraim the Syriac, or Theophilus.
Yeah, I don't mind reading those. I know a few folks from seminary school that had to read those as well. So yeah, I don't mind reading those. Yeah, I could read anything. I don't mind reading those. I don't mind reading the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita. I'll read anything. You know what I mean? Because it expands your knowledge. So sure, I won't mind reading
Yeah,
it.
sure. That's it from me. If you want to ask anything, if you're interested in anything, I can. If you're not, I'll just hop off.
Oh yeah, no, not a problem. I appreciate you being up.
Thank you, man. Have a great day.
You too. Have a good one. All right, I got Ed. Two questions. When we die, where does our soul go, and what is fraudulent about the Bible? Um, I don't believe in souls. So that question is like asking me, when we go to the North Pole, what time are we going to see Santa Claus? Like, it's a myth. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, souls are like a mythological thing to me. So I don't believe in souls. So that question doesn't really apply. But what's fraudulent about the Bible? I would say that, yeah, I guess things wrong a lot. I think there are some scientific things that it gets wrong. I believe there are some historical things that it gets wrong as well. Like the Exodus definitely didn't happen. Um, but other than that, I wouldn't say it's a fraudulent book. I would say that it's mythology, like historical mythology, essentially, like the Iliad. The Iliad is historical mythology. You know what I mean? Right now, if you look at what else like the Harry Potter novels, you can call those like historical fiction or uh historical like mythology. You know what I mean? Because they mention real places, they even mention real people. But is there a kid named Harry, you know, pounding his wand everywhere? Like, no. You know what I mean? So I think the Bible's the same way. Rob, no, the Exodus has not been proven. Even like Jewish scholars will tell you that Moses probably wasn't a real person. Not a problem, Ed. No, it hasn't, Rob. Yeah, like there's no evidence of the Exodus, and yeah, like I said, they'll tell you themselves that no, this probably didn't happen. There's no records of the Israelites in mass being in Egypt, no records at all. Now there were Semitic speaking people there, like sure there were Semitic speaking people, but the Israelite group in mass, building the pyramids, there's no record of that at all. So and there's been no evidence of a people group marching from Egypt into the Middle East. That's just not there. No, there isn't, Rob. There isn't. I'm not gonna keep arguing with that with you. There's just no evidence of that. All right, y'all. Keep liking the live. Keep sharing. Shout out to my mom Jonesy. Shout out to my mom Jonesy in the chat. Go ahead and keep liking the live and keep sharing it. Yeah, I do have a gift goal. Again, I'm running an Ask Me Anything tonight. So if you have any questions, let's see if there's anything over on my YouTube right now. No questions on my YouTube. All right. Shout out to everybody who's watching me on Instagram as well. Shout out to y'all's. Yeah, Rob, the chariots that you're talking about, according to the University of Cairo, that was never there. There was never a chariots in found in the bottom of the Red Sea. It's not there. All right. Rich asks, what's a Pan African? A Pan African is simply the ideology that people of sub-Saharan African descent should gain social, political, and economic autonomy, and lift ourselves up from the effects of colonialism. That doesn't mean every single African is the same. That doesn't mean every single sub-Saharan African culture is the same, because we're definitely all different cultures. But it's what it means is that we advocate for sub-Saharan African people to have social, political, and economic autonomy away from our old colonial masters. It includes things like being against ideologies like white supremacy, neocolonialism, and that's neocolonialism from anyone, both the East and the West. Yeah, Rob. Like I said, the University of Cairo, they already said that they never discovered that. That claim comes from a person said, W. Jonesy. Thanks, Jonesy. That university, the University of Cairo, who actually explores the Red Sea, they already said that never happened. They never found anything like that. So it's a lie. All right, Tangela. It seems you have questions for me, Tangela. So go ahead and come on up and we could talk about it. When did I have a master? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Rich. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure what Rich is talking about. Yeah, but Tangela, if you have a question for me, you can go ahead and ask me the question. All right, we got Tangela coming up. Hey, Tangela, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I do.
Sure.
First of all, I do believe that we have souls, and it's because I have felt it and experienced it for myself. Have you at all tried to reach out to God?
I grew up Christian.
And what happened?
I figured that I had no reason to believe that it's true.
Okay, that's fair enough. The Bible says that there will be some that will believe and some that will not. I just, uh, I don't know.
Where are
I
you
just
from?
will
Hold
pray
on, hold on,
for
hold
your
on, Apple.
soul.
Apple, hold on, Apple. Yeah, so I just had no reason to believe that is true and it has no utility. Like, for example, uh, is there a moral thing that you can do as a Christian that I can't do not believing?
Um, that's a good question.
Yeah, there really isn't.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But what I would say is that there really isn't. There really isn't anything that you can do that's moral that I can't do. You know what I mean? Not believing. So it's like if uh if it's not necessary for me to have morals
Well,
or purpose or drive or anything like that, then it's not necessary.
I won't say morals, but it is necessary to believe in uh, the in Jesus. It's necessary to believe in God, and it's necessary that we try to be better people every day. That we love one another.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't need Jesus to do that. Like I
That I
can.
would say that's an oxymoron.
It's not. You're saying that as an atheist I can't be a good person?
I'm not saying that at all.
Right,
Jesus
right.
is love.
Right, and I can love people, right?
You can, but Jesus is love.
Right.
And I don't know that you know love if you don't know Jesus.
Am I human?
I don't know. You said you don't have a soul. You don't believe in souls, so I really don't know the answer to that.
But not believing in souls doesn't make me not human, right?
Uh, there you got me again.
No, I'm not trying to get you. I'm like just a regular conversation. But like, just because I don't believe in
Mm-hmm.
souls, that doesn't stop me from being a human, right? So, in humans, we have the capacity to love. At least those who don't have like antisocial personality disorder. Unless you have like APSD where you can't, just have feelings, then all humans have the capacity to love. So, not being Christian doesn't, or not believing in Jesus doesn't mean it's not necessary for me to not love someone, right? Like, for example, in India, you agree that in India people fall in love and have children all the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, most Indians aren't Christians; they're Hindus or Muslim, so it wouldn't be necessary, right? So they know, like for example, over there in India, a lot of them know love without having Jesus. So I won't need it, would I? Like for example, before before Christianity came to Central Africa and the Congo, they had a whole different religious system. Like love existed at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. So not necessary.
Well, I guess I'm not arguing about the type of religion. You know,
Mm,
there's all different types of religions. People have their own way of getting to the source, um, which for me is God, it's Jesus. It doesn't have to be through Christianity, doesn't have to be through Hinduism or Buddhist or any of that. Um,
mm.
but I do believe that you have to believe in the source. For me, it's God, and that his son Jesus died for us so that we could have the right to the tree of life forever.
Why? Why do you think he did that?
I know it in my soul. I feel it. And if you have a relationship with him, you know that too.
Know what? That Jesus died for us?
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say Jesus did die for us. Why? What was the point of that?
So that we could
Hmm.
live forever after tribulation, after revelation, after the Bible has fulfilled itself. And you did state that the Bible I don't know. Did you say that the Bible was fraudulent, or did somebody comment on that?
Someone commented on that. I wouldn't say that the Bible is fraudulent. I would call it more historical mythology than outright fraudulent.
So you do believe the things that happened, that the Bible said happened?
There were definitely real. It definitely names real people and real events. Like David, we know was a real person. You know what I mean? Uh, and the battle they had with Moab definitely happened. You know, so there's historical evidence there. So, but like, did like Elijah bring down fire from the sky to burn the priest of Baal and then fly him up to the sky himself, or did some guy walk on water? Probably not.
Okay.
Give me
Well,
I'm sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Hey, Allah cut off. I went ahead and invited you up because you said that you're atheist and right wing. I definitely want to have a conversation with you about that. But yeah, the reason why I'm atheist is because it's like I said, I don't have any reason to believe that is true, and it doesn't really have a lot of utility for my life. Like just like how you said, I can still, just like how we just concluded, I can still live a normal, healthy, and happy life not believing. You know, so there's no real necessity for me to believe it. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want to see how you got to your viewpoint. But yeah, Tangela, that's basically where I'm at. You know,
Question for you, good brother. What type of atheist are you?
agnostic.
Okay. And what I've had quite a few debates with those that have chosen the left hand path.
I'm sorry. Can you I'm sorry. Can you give me 1 second? Tangela, did I make myself a little clearer to you? You understand that?
yes. Thank
right.
you, brother.
Not a problem. I appreciate you being up.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, Allah, come on up because I want to talk about that. I don't know what you mean by gender ideology, so go ahead, come on up, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, Omar, go ahead and what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my brother. Yes, so I've had quite a few debates with those that have chosen the left hand path. So you say you're agnostic, atheist, and then in terms of the left hand path, most left hand pathers, they subscribe to God, but more of them being God, and they go into the higher self aspect of it. Like, where are you in terms of the left hand path?
I was actually gonna ask you, what do you mean by that? What is the left hand path? I don't think I've heard of that before.
I'm tripping. Atheist, leftist. I got you. So the left hand path is more of those that are more self indulging, more self centered. They look at themselves as God. They don't worship a deity, and so because I had a 2 hour debate, and so when I saw left and atheist, I'm like, oh, this another brother that's on a particular path. But yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, leftist is more about like my political ideology. When it comes to self-indulgence, like as long as it's not harmful to anyone else, and if you want to harm yourself, I don't think you should. I think you should live as an effective life as possible to not self-harm. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I think people should do. But I'm more of a like a libertarian when it comes to that. If you want to harm yourself and no one can stop you, then good luck with that. I want you to be better than that though. Like that's why I want to be a therapist, because I don't want people to harm themselves. I think that's bad for you psychologically. You know what I mean? But when it comes to self-indulgence, as long as not harming others, not harming yourself, go ahead and live your life. Like I grew up on Jesus. I mean, not Jesus. I grew up on Young Jeezy, right? What was that song name? What was that song? I forgot that song. But Young Jeezy said a line in one.
Forces. What? Yeah, just give me the line. I probably
yeah,
know.
exactly. He said, "F bad bees, smoke big blunts. Who am I to tell you different? You only live once." Right? Yeah, he's that wasn't Air Forces. That wasn't Air Forces. He did say that in Air Forces. He said like, "F bad bees, smoke big blunts. Who am I to tell you different? You only live once." It's true. You know what I mean? If that's the way you want to live your life, you don't want a family, you just want to go out here and, mess with women and get high every day, that's on you, bro, as long as you're not harming anybody. You know what I mean? So I'm more libertarian when it comes to that. But as far as self-indulgence goes and worshiping myself, that teeters onto narcissism for me. So I wouldn't do that. But self-indulgence, self-indulgence is good. You know what I mean? I've taken eddies before. You know, I've taken eddies before. Me and my wife took some eddies. We had a lot of food and we had a really fun time. You know what I mean? Real fun, hanky panky. But like, as far as doing that all the time or every day, I think it becomes a little self-destructive, which starts to standing ovation. That was the name of the song, Standing Ovation. That was the name of the
Oh yeah,
song.
yeah. Okay.
Appreciate it. That was the name of the song, Standing Ovation. But yeah, as far as that goes, yeah, you can self-indulge and everything like that as long as you're not harming anybody. But worshiping yourself becomes a little bit narcissistic to me, so I probably wouldn't do that. Make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, let me ask you this: who did you vote for?
I voted for Kamala. I think she had better ideas than Trump did.
Okay, yeah, I voted for Trump. Yeah, I don't have political party. I just vote based on what's needed at the time, and I felt that Trump was better for the country than Kamala.
Yeah, I disagree because of what he said he was gonna do. Like for example, his idea on how to solve homelessness. Instead of actually resolving it, he said that he's gonna put everybody in camps, which is kind of reminiscent of 1930s. Instead of like actually addressing the economy, just he's gonna put up tariffs, which really don't do anything. I didn't like his positions on the LGBTQ society, so it's just one of those things where I felt he's a very very divisive figure for really no reason other than just being a blowhard. I didn't like his past, and I just didn't think he had any actual policies that would either unite or be better for America. Appreciate that, Issa. Thank you. Or
He
unite or be
also
better for
wants
America. So
he also wants to give police complete immunity.
yeah, I forgot about that part. Complete immunity. I saw you I saw you, hot team. I'm my bad. I didn't bring you up before. Just give me a
It's
few
okay,
minutes.
no problem.
All good. But yeah, Omar, that's why I didn't vote for him. I didn't think his plans or his non-plans or his rhetoric was conducive to uniting America.
No, I understand. Yeah, what it boils down to is really what you are most passionate about. You know what I mean? Like we're all different. We all have things that are very important to us. Like I've been vegan over 21 years, so when it comes to removing certain chemicals from the food supply, anything pertaining to that, I'm going to advocate for that. Somebody else may say, I don't care about, health and nutrition. I want to be able to eat what I want to eat, So it really depends on what you see important in your life, and that should sway your vote. Me, it doesn't matter about personality, race, gender. It's more about what is more in alignment with what I feel is better for people overall. So
Yeah, and I could understand and appreciate that, which is, and I get why people would gravitate towards RFK because of everything that he's saying. The problem that I have with RFK is that even though like the thing about people who are like I would say are grifters or like conspiracy theorists is that everything that they say does have a grain of truth. Like, yeah, there is things in our food that can affect us negatively, but one of the biggest things in all of our food that affects us negatively is sugar. And one thing that I've seen that RFK haven't spoke about a lot, I'm getting violation warnings, y'all. I'm not sure why I'm getting violation warnings. I don't know why, but one of the things that has affected us a lot was sugar. You know what I mean? And I haven't seen not only RFK not talk about sugar, but he's talked about things that are completely conspiratorial, like black people having different immunities and needing a different vaccine schedule, being like his whole vaccine schedule thing, and as a whole, saying that depression is just people not having enough willpower. All of that is just complete nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Especially as someone who's going to be a therapist. Someone saying that depression means that you're just not working hard enough is completely just bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things that like, and not only that, him completely throwing out the FDA and stuff like that. Like, I get that the FDA has its problems, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You see what I'm saying? And that's just my entire issue with him, which is why like I didn't gravitate towards that way. Now, he is right that there are things and chemicals in our food that do affect us. Sure, I understand that. That part there is true, but the race science part of it, the conspiracy part of it, I just couldn't get with it.
I mean, but that is true though. We are different, and genetically, you have to understand that when you have a certain difference genetically, you have to be accommodated in a certain way. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's why they studied us for so long. You got Tuskegee selfish experiment. You have all these experiments where they're trying to understand the genetics of what we call black men and women. And yeah, we're different. There's no doubt about that. He was right when he
That's
said that.
pseudoscience.
Yeah,
Say
I
it
was
again.
gonna give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. My mod is coming up. Give me 1 second. Everybody pause real quick. Jonesy, what's up?
Oh no, I didn't mean to join. I was writing in the comments, but that's crazy. Are you really up here supporting medical racism?
It's not racism.
It
It's
is medical racism.
It's
Do
you
you
know
know
it's
that
medical racism. I'm
do
sorry.
you
Go
know
go ahead,
that
Jonesy.
people like do you know that black babies unalive at a higher rate due to medical racism? Like people
black women are stronger and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
thinking that black babies can endure more pain, they can deal with diseases without treatment, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's an issue. But when it comes to just
That's
like what
medical
happens is,
racism. That's thinking that, because this baby is black, that
but that's something
handled
different though.
they can
That's
be
different.
handled differently. This is exactly the same. Saying that black people need different vaccines because we're genetically different, which is not true.
No, we are different, sister. That's why,
We're phenotypically different. We're not
yeah,
genetically different.
that makes a difference. So, for example, when you look at us by large and far, we can see that we're different when it comes
Yeah,
to a
that's
lot
called
of
a
things.
phenotype. That's called a
Now,
phenotype.
now, I'll let you finish, and then I'll speak because I
Yeah,
don't like.
because you're conflating two different things. Your phenotype is how you look. So phenotypically, people are black. Phenotypically, people are Asian.
Yeah, that's really it. Now you may be reaching towards like a study that's found out that our immune response to different like bacteria is different, like salmonella and stuff like that. Our immune response is stronger, but all it says is that we just react faster to these particular type of bacteria. That doesn't mean like genetically we're like have a different type of immune system. Like, do we not all have white blood cells? Like we still got that, right?
Yeah, bro, but we are different, and white people understand this. And based on what the sister was talking about, yes, because they understand that. Yes, throughout time, you had those who have been in the medical field who have used things to attack us in many ways. But if you're looking at it from just if the intentions are pure, and like if a so-called black woman is going to a doctor, when they're running her, when they're testing her levels, they're basing it on a white man. That's a problem. So if they're saying, hey, your iron is low, it's based on the standard of a white man. This is a problem. A black woman, she's designed differently. It's been proven that black men and women produce more testosterone than any other group on the planet. Period. This is one example of many. So when you understand that we are different, which is why we do things different when it comes to athleticism, when it comes to many things within society, we see that we're different people, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so we can't eat their food.
With
We
all due
can't eat
respect,
their
I'm going to
food.
have to
I
ask
keep
you to
I keep
cite
getting a
any
call.
source that you're making for any of your claims because I don't think you understand that everything you're saying is dangerous. The thing you even said about hemoglobin test is 100% wrong. If you're talking about pulse oximeters and the science behind that, yes, there is a problem with pulse oximeters being used on darker skin because they can't properly gauge due to melanin, but that has nothing to do with us getting different results other than the technology itself is based to suit white people. But white people and black people biologically are not different. There are things that have changed about us to suit our environment based on evolution. For example, what is it? What's the anemia? What's the
Sickle
anemia?
cell.
Sickle cell.
Sickle
Sickle cell
cells.
anemia. Anybody can have sickle cell anemia. The reason why you see more black people with sickle cell anemia is because we evolved in an environment that we had to protect ourselves from malaria. So we are more likely in that evolution to be susceptible to diseases like sickle cell anemia, but anybody can have that. So please, what you're saying is incredibly dangerous. And if you're going to make any more claims, you need to back those claims up with science. Don't just make them. Don't just say them. Back them up.
Yeah, Omar, I
Also,
was
I'm
actually
gonna
gonna
get
ask.
you. Yeah, I'm gonna get the first study as far as the testosterone.
Yes, please do, because I'm gonna
I
look it up
got
right now.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and Omar, I was gonna ask, when it comes, you said that we are genetically different. When it comes to genetics, what is the gene responsible for black people and white people? And if we have a genetic difference, how come we can like have children with them and they can have children with us if we're genetically different?
the same way a tiger and a lion can have sex and create a liger, it's no
Yeah,
different.
but the
So
liger
I'm going to
can't
show
reproduce.
you. So
But
what I'm going to
ligers can't reproduce. We can reproduce like half white, half black people can reproduce, right?
right. So give me one thing at a time. Let me
Okay.
show you scientifically the differences between us. Use studies that you guys like to use.
I would like to
And
start with the claim that there's a different test. We get different
hold on,
results
Issa.
based
Don't
on a white.
overwhelm me. I want to have a genuine conversation because
Well, no, I'm
I,
starting with the claim you made about
I got you. But the overly
Okay, yeah, let's be
emotional,
fair and
overbearing.
let's just go one question at a time. So
that's why I'm
what
asking
is the first? Oh,
specifically. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So give me
So
a second. Y'all
what
can
is the
finish the
first
conversation.
what is the first question that you're about to answer, Omar, just so that we're all on the same page?
Just I want to show you that we are different scientifically. Period. So
Okay,
Wait,
and
so
that
we're
Volsi.
waiting for that source.
um
Volsi,
and
hold on one second. If I can preface this conversation, because I think we might be about to go into a rabbit hole that we're just talking past each other. Because Omar, like, if he's just Omar, you're gonna say something like we are different, and then you could say on an aggregate, the people are different. But I think the deeper question is the what exactly is it that makes us different? Because yes, you can bring up something like on average, here's the difference between these groups of population, but them being black may not be the reason between the difference. You can have a difference between any group of populations for a plethora of reasons, but you have to point out why it's because they're black and what that means as the cause for that difference. That's what
yeah.
we're asking
So
for, not just that there is a difference, because I'm
yeah,
sure
let's.
there is.
No, it's a lot, bro. And it's just sad. With see, let me. That's why we have to be humble because we never know who we're talking to, and we've all been in different positions in life, and I have
Appreciate that, Jonesy.
a lot of experience and a lot
Oh,
of gems
that's
that I
fine,
can
brother.
share with my people.
Yeah, that,
And
that that's fine.
so
That's fine, Omar. But
yeah,
Omar, I
so
wanted
let me just
to.
say this. Hold on. I got to study. I'm just it's a let me because I want
Just
to know if
name
y'all
the. Can you
if
name the
y'all are
study?
yeah. So the first study is from the National Library of Medicine, and it's dealing with the serum sex steroid hormone concentrations in men based on their race and ethnicity. I'm gonna
What's
read
the
it to
name of
you,
the study?
and I can post it for you.
No, I
The
just would
name
like. I have my computer in front of me right now. I'm gonna look it up.
the
What's the
name of
name
the
of the
study is
study?
called the Racial Ethnic Differences in Serum Sex Steroid Hormone Concentrations in U.S. Adolescent Males.
Omar, did you
Can you
understand my analysis? I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
understood what I
yeah, one
said.
at a time, bro. Like, come on, is this because you know what I mean? It's like
racial ethnic study in what?
the differences in serum sex steroid hormone concentrations in U.S. adolescent males.
So what, like black young black males have more testosterone than young white males?
Yeah, like there's several studies, and so I want to get because I'm on my other phone. So what I want to do is, if you see me back out, I can copy the link, post it, and then that way you guys can see and we can read along.
But Omar, my analysis before you said anything was I'm sure there are differences about two different groups of people, but what we want to know is
I don't want to
why
move the
is it
goalpost, brother. My position is simple. We
no,
are
what
different.
moving the goalpost?
That's it. We're different. That's
No
my
one's
position.
saying yes,
All right.
obviously you
So
can grab
now,
any
what
two
I'm
groups of
Hold on,
Omar,
Omar. Any two groups of people are going to be different. We understand that. But like what Hatim is saying is it that there are black that makes the difference, or is it because we were from different environments that makes the difference?
well, it's a multitude of things because if you're there's one component as far as your phenotype, but then there are other biological factors that make us different, and we see this in society. And I don't know why we're acting like we don't see the differences between us and other groups, and why we're hating.
we
This is disgusting to hear
Can
that
I just add that
right
I'm reading
we're not
this
the
right
same.
now, and one of the things it says important considerations: socioeconomic factors, which aren't racial; genetic variations, which aren't racial; sample size and diversity. These are all factors. So, and that's what I brought up. That's what I brought up earlier with sickle cell anemia, because we are more prone to that type of disease because of the areas we come from, the areas we've evolved in. And socioeconomic factors also have to do with if you grow up in a food desert, if you grow up in a place where you may be malnourished, but those aren't components that just like what is this? Who is this right here? Hatim was saying it. Basically, what he was saying. Yes, there are differences, but the differences aren't because of race.
So, question for you. I just want to see who I'm talking to, within my people. When you look at sports, for example, if white men and black men produce the same amount of testosterone, etc., if we're all the same on every level, why is it that you see that what we refer to as black men, just dealing with sports, right? They excel far better when it comes to boxing and basketball and football. What is that? Explain it to me.
Again, that has a lot to do with environmental evolution, like the evolution in the environments we've come from.
Like what? Give me an example. What would make them?
There is another thing that's actually quite controversial.
No. I just want to say what she said. I just want to understand their mindset.
There is another factor that's quite controversial also, and that's built out of slavery, because we were literally selective for breeding like cattle.
That's a theory. That's
So,
not.
so Omar,
not even that, right?
hold on, wait. So Omar,
No,
will
everything you're saying
hold
is
on,
not
excuse me
even
one
theory.
second.
It's made
So,
up.
Everybody
so
pause. Everybody
Omar,
pause. Everybody pause. Jonesy, go ahead.
will you accept us? You gave us a source from the National Library of Medicine. Will you accept one that I have from the National Library of Medicine so we can read it together?
Yeah, what you got? What's the title of it? What is it dealing with?
Let me. It's race and genetics. So hold on, let me bring up the.
While Jonesy does that, I just want to make an analysis about, any group of people dominating a field like sports, even if it's dominated by black people, it doesn't mean that black people overall are just better at sports. The same way why just because there's a certain group of people that are CEOs doesn't mean that white men are just going to be the best possible candidate for CEOs, or like overall white men are just the better CEOs.
And I was going to say that's what he's doing. He's basically using the same pseudoscience that white people have used to say that they're more intellectually superior.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Omar,
Put the name of the study in the chat.
Gotcha. Because I was gonna bring that up, Omar. If you're bringing up the sports analogy, you would also then have to say that Asians are just more intelligent, and then black people are on the bottom of intelligence, right?
Nah, I'm just there's a reason for everything. But when it comes to, so do you when you talk about IQ, like testing,
IQ testing doesn't say anything about intelligence.
No, I know that's what I'm getting at. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So I'm trying to understand, because when it comes to athleticism, a book, for example, wouldn't produce a better athlete more so than the genetics would play a part in that. And so I'm just trying to gauge and see your argument and see if it's structurally sound.
Well, with like your
Because then-
athleticism argument, right? We could say there in the U.S. alone, 99% of executive CEOs are whitey men. So does that mean that they are more qualified, like they're more inherently qualified for that position because there are more, because there are more of them?
See, the problem I have with with my people, like black people, is interesting. Like, I had a conversation with a white man, and the one yesterday on TikTok. When I spoke to this white man, he was honest about his nature and not differences. And
That's just begging a question, brother.
I'm making a point. So what I said that is, when you look at the nature of white people historically, they have shown that their nature is very destructive. When it comes to the manipulation of history, when it comes to,
I think maybe you mean behavior.
let me make my point, brother.
Using
Wouldn't
the
that
word
be
nature.
based in socialization?
Let me make my point. I just want to express myself. I don't like the emotional. I don't do that.
It's not emotional. You're
It's
using
not.
the word nature.
You're cutting me off.
Can everybody pause real quick? All right. So Omar, here's the thing, because we're bringing up your same analogy, right? You said that one of there are differences, and you said look at sports and how black people excel in that. But like we said, when it comes to more quote unquote intellectual things like science, mathematics, you see more Asian than white people. So if you're gonna say that we're different athletically because we excel in sports, are you going to say that Asian and white people excel in intellect and they're more smart than us? You wouldn't say that.
Well, when it comes to certain tests, I'm going to challenge those tests, and we can talk about it. But I want to deal with one thing at a time. But I just want to make a point, and I don't want the brother to keep cutting me off because I have a platform too, and I don't run my platform like that. I allow people to speak even if I don't agree. So can I be
Go.
heard or not?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. What you
All
were
right.
saying?
So I had a conversation with a white man, and I said that historically your people have been shown that you're very destructive. You have a different, white people by far and large are more fleshly. Our people are more intuitive. Like we have a certain gift and a certain skill set. And I basically went into academia and how Europeans have, there's something called the Piltdown Man. If you study that, it's very fascinating how they fabricated fossil structures to support a racist agenda. You see in Hollywood how they manipulate certain figures to be white, and it's not true historically. So I went into their nature. Guess what this white man did? He acknowledged that and he accepted that. Then he talked about how, because white people, they specialize when it comes to warfare, they have a certain specialty when it comes to warfare. They're different. You know, when you study certain groups in Africa, they're different. The so-called black men and women here in America, we're different. And I can demonstrate that musically. The Michael Jacksons, the Aretha Franklins, the Temptations, the Earth, Winds, and Fires versus, you know, other countries around the world. You know, we've created so many musical genres. We're more responsible for the modern world technologically, and I can go into the inventions than any other group. We're the most influential on the planet. So once you start to see, regardless of the scientific experiments, regardless of all of that, because we can get into that, we can see that certain groups are different. It doesn't make us more superior. It just means that God designed us in a very special way. So when we have these emotional conversations and people are denying that people are different, white people are different on average, black people are different
No one's
on average,
denying
and
this.
even within black people, it's a lot.
There's a lot of differences.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've had enough of that. Everything
Yeah.
that you've just
He's
described
rambling too
is
much.
sociological differences. You,
Exactly.
you mentioned music and things like that. Tell me what gene controls music.
There has to be a gene marker. You have to be able to name it.
Yeah, and like Hatim was saying before, we know that we're all different, right? We all come from different, like for example, everything that you're naming, just like how Jonesy said, is sociological. Like when it comes to people of sub-Saharan African descent, one of the reasons why we're so musically inclined is because that's one of the ways that we communicated. So we've always come up with music. We've always been harmonious people. When I mean harmonious, I mean like when it comes to like singing and stuff like that. We've always used that as ways to communicate, tell stories. Like artwork was always a way for us to communicate and tell stories, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's a lot of things in history right now that there are ways of writing in Africa that had more to do with artwork than it had to do with like actual letters. You feel me? Like the bronze statues that exist over in England. Those were stories. Those were actual written things, but we don't know where they are yet because of imperialism. But that's off the subject. What I mean to say, Omar, is just like how Jonesy was saying. What you're naming are things that are sociological. Like what you're trying to how we understand what you're saying is that the difference in us are biological genetic differences. And just like how Omar and Jonesy and Issa ask, what gene is responsible for music and art?
And
Also, I
I'll,
think he misunderstood something you said earlier when you said about the mathematics and science. I think he thought we were talking about testing, and that wasn't about testing. We're talking about those fields are dominated by YT and Asian people. So based on your analogy with Black people and athleticism, that would the white YT people and Asian people dominating intellectual professions would say the same thing. Not any test. We're not talking about any testing.
Right.
and,
Go ahead,
and I would
Hatim.
like, yeah, I would like to add that Omar's line of logic is very dangerous because
Extremely.
what you were saying, Omar, is that, well, white people are historically like more destructive, and that is a very dangerous path to really go through because one, I don't even know how you're gathering that that's true because historically black people have also been destructive as well. And let's even say that it is true that white people have been the most destructive. Then and then you're saying that just part of their nature. Then some white racists can be like, oh, look at black Americans today or in the past 20 years or in the past 40 years. Well, the nature of Black Americans in this time period, I guess their nature is just more destructive as well. And then that would just be that's allowing for just like racism as well, like even deeper racism. Like just because you see a group of people of a so-called race behave a certain way, it doesn't mean it's because of their race. There are socio-economic factors like Issa and Jonesy were saying.
And Hatim, what you're saying, that does happen. And the people who say those things are equally as dangerous as Omar here.
I used to be a
Yeah, because
Black
they
supremacist.
use that rhetoric to shape the laws here and the policies here that have affected us since our introduction to this country. It shaped lots of laws and privileges that we have, to the point that
Yeah.
that's why medical racism is still so rampant, because people still believe studies about us from the 1800s.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Issa, like I used to be like a Black supremacist when I was in high school. Like I'm 26 now, but I was like 17. I was like, yeah, man, look at these white people. All they do is destroy, blah 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 blah, and not knowing that I was seeping into the same rhetoric that's destructive, that's causing all of this division and racism. Like I had to stop myself from doing that, and luckily I did so when I got into college and learned more.
He made a
Now,
claim earlier about hemoglobin tests being different because the standard is based off of white people's body. And this just happens to be something I know a lot about because I suffer from an actual hemoglobin issue, and I've had to have my hemoglobin, my blood levels tested pretty much, I mean, all the time. I've had hundreds of blood transfusions. I know my blood type and my antigens. I know all of those things. So, and I know what the normal hemoglobin level is. So this happens to be something I know a lot about. So I know that's why I asked him to explain that explicitly, because I know for fact that's untrue. Also, I'm also in a
Hey,
house full of medical professionals right now
hey,
because
host, can you
that's what my family does.
host? I'm gonna send you a study. It's because TikTok won't allow you to post links in the chat for whatever reason. So I'm gonna DM you this study. It basically it's showing black men have higher testosterone levels and Asian men during this study. The study was done over a period of several years, um, and um, and Asian men had the lowest. And so I'm gonna send you this study, and I want to find more studies to show um, that we are different, and there's nothing wrong with that. I agree that yes, once they study us and they know the differences of us being more superior genetically, then you'll see the manipulation used to undermine us in the medical field, harvesting of organs, etc. And that's the part that y'all are missing. So,
We are
yeah.
not
Oh, Omar,
superior.
this is the part
I,
that, yeah, that's the part
hey,
that I'm not all the way with you on the whole superior thing. I don't believe like just being born with this skin is what makes me superior. Even if I do have more testosterone than the average white or Asian person, even if I can build muscle easier, um, quicker than the average white or Asian person who's my same size and age, that doesn't make me superior at all. I'm not sure what makes me. How
what's
does that
the
make me superior?
definition of superior? What's the definition of superior? Like if somebody has the
Does that mean
ability,
Scandinavians
like
and
if somebody has the
tall
ability to,
Scandinavians
when
or
you
something?
understand like muscle, like there's certain groups on the planet, their the muscle fibers are more heightened than other groups, and so they will be more superior in a certain area. So it's nothing wrong with being superior. And so, it's like when people talk about white supremacy, it's nothing wrong with being a white supremacist, it's like a black supremacist.
You're
You
spouting
love your
eugenics.
people.
You're
Alrighty,
literally like spouting eugenics nonsense right now.
What?
alrighty, that's enough
This
of
guy said
that.
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
being a white supremacist.
yeah, that's enough of that. All right,
Yeah.
y'all. So this Q&A kind of
Whoa!
went kind of went off the rails, but it's all good and well.
Whoa!
JPC, you there?
Yeah, how you
Yeah.
doing?
How's
I,
it
I
going?
don't know
Yeah.
what I just joined. I don't know what's going on, so I'm like zip. I want to
Oh,
hear what you have to say before I talk.
all good. No, all good. But yeah, we kind of went off the rails there. So, but anyway, y'all, we got 26 people in the building, 7.3K likes. Shout out to everybody who's watching me on Twitch. Shout out to everybody watching me on YouTube. Let's go ahead and get those likes up. I appreciate everybody being up. I appreciate you here being Issa. I appreciate Jonesy. Appreciate Hatim. I gotta make y'all mods, as a matter of fact, so I could put all y'all in the team with Dr. Joe and Jonesy. You guys are amazing. Love you all. JPC, you got any questions for
You're
me?
awesome.
Yeah, atheist, leftist, Pan American. What does that mean exactly?
Pan African, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, all good. So you need to you're asking what does Pan African mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pan Africanism is an ideology of that grew out of post-colonialism, post-colonial Africa, and civil rights America, of people of African descent, basically black people, uniting together to for our autonomy and our political, economic, and social autonomy away from our old colonial masters, and that we have more commonality and a shared destiny because we have a shared culture, mostly. Does that all make sense?
Somewhat. So you're just trying to like work together and I don't know, move forward. Is that? I'm not trying to make it simple. I'm just asking.
No, no, correct. That's yeah, trying to move forward. Trying to move forward from colonialism and not just, you know, not just economically from colonialism, but socially as well, because there are a lot of people because of colonialism and what white supremacy has caused. A lot of African history and African tradition are either denigrated even by African people themselves, or they're completely missing. So Pan Africanism is like a is an intellectual and political movement to restore a lot of those ideas, traditions, and to have our own autonomy and power.
And how do you fix that? Not being serious, I'm being serious.
No, I understand what you're saying. It's extremely difficult because a lot of Africans today find Pan Africanism to be useless because how do you want me to unite with the person who's actually oppressing me? It's not the Europeans who's doing it; it's the person next to me who's doing it. So it is very, very difficult. You know what I mean? Like we've all said, not all skin
You have
folk.
to disagree with
You know,
that
so
a little bit.
yeah, the only reason why I disagree with them a little bit is because the reason why that oppression happens is because Europeans have something to do with it. You know what I mean? Like what we saw in Rwanda, that entire beef came from the Belgians. So
Nigeria too.
Nigeria too, Biafra, I mean, that civil war, all that came from, the English, so all of these are issues of colonialism. And the reason, what we can do is not only, like social, like when we say like social power, right? We mean that we educate ourselves and we follow the traditions that we followed before colonialism came in place, because we actually already had a system in place to educate and to socially be on our own. You feel me? We didn't need a colonial system. So the way to do it is to, well, number one, understand history, and number two, we need to have a system of, or at least some sort of Congress to understand these conflicts, exactly where these conflicts come from and what are the core issues in these conflicts. And the more that we understand these in the
Conflict
African
with who?
continent,
Conflicts with who exactly?
conflicts on the African continent, because there's a lot of conflicts there. So when we all sit, we have some sort of Congress, some sort of understanding, some sort of talk of where do these conflicts come from and why do they appear between these tribes, then we can get to a spot where we can actually understand each other and build for a better African society as a whole. Make sense?
No, it makes sense. That's a tough spot because you can't get anybody to agree on anything, whether you're white, black, Chinese.
Of
Well,
course.
there's a lot of
It's really tough. To get people to agree on everything.
Of course.
I would say there's a lot of progress in Africa with the establishment of the African Union.
Definitely.
And then there's also the establishment of ECOWAS, which is the Economic Community of West African States. And so there's the idea in Africa, talking the presidents and leaders of each nation talking about creating like how Europe has the euro, that Africa would have one
Currency, the dinar.
currency, and then citizens can move freely across borders without having to really just kind of how we move freely among states in the U.S. So that is a huge progress that is in the works of happening in Africa. So there's more progress than a lot of people think, and it's being slowed because the stronger and more unionized Africa becomes, the less dependent on Europe and outsiders that they are, which means less money for those nations.
Exactly. So that's what Pan Africanism is about. It's more about like that economic independence. Like for example, a lot of France still has colonies in Africa. You know what I mean? Because the people who print the currency for a lot of francophone African states is France. They control their entire currency, which makes no sense. Why can't these countries print their own currency? You know what I mean? And I think there was a past French president that even said that without Africa, France would be in dire ruins. They would fail without Africa. You know what I mean? So the Sahelian African states like Burkina Faso, and I think Chad did the same thing. You know, becoming independent of France is a huge move, and like I'm very very proud of those brothers for doing that, because we need more of that. We need more of our own independence. I mean, people in like the courts in Nigeria and the courts of Jamaica, they still wear the powdered wigs. They still do that shit. Like, why? There's literally no reason for that. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of progress being made, and I think the youth, the younger generation will start making that progress themselves. It's just that the old generation, they want to keep on to the old colonial ways, and I have no idea why.
So that's not in America. You're talking about Pan African, right?
Yeah, I mean, Pan Africanism is essentially worldwide. It's over here in America as well. Like MLK, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Stokely Carmichael, they were all Pan Africanists. Even the ancestors in the Haitian Revolution, Toussaint Dessalines, they were Pan Africanists.
All right, so I'm stupid. What do you want to be fixed? What's the right way to like take care of stuff?
It's a tough path forward, but the right way to take care of stuff is like number one, we have to find a way to end these ethnic conflicts on the continent of Africa, and ethnic conflicts here in America, because right now there is
I agree with
ethnic conflicts. You know what I mean? So end those find a way to end those ethnic conflicts and find a way to forge a path forward of economic independence away from like Europe essentially.
Can I ask you a question? Are you Gen X? I'm just,
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, I'm 50. I'll be honest with you. I grew up with all my friends, and I just took people for who they were, and like it just, I don't know. I'm a plumber. I work hard. I'm a blue collar guy, and I thought things were going good. Like I have no idea, and things took a left turn. Maybe because I wasn't paying attention because I was working so hard trying to support my family and stuff.
JP, I'm a Gen Xer too, and I've always been aware of these things.
Yeah, well, I've been in like crawl spaces and boiler rooms for like 12 to 14 hours a day for most of my life. And I don't watch the news. I come home, I kiss my kids, eat dinner with them, and then I'm done. If I'm lucky enough to eat dinner with them.
One of the things that we say that we mean, and I'll speak for myself. One of the things I mean when we talk about things like white privilege, is one of the parts of white privilege is the luxury of being unaware of these things. And people your same age and older who are Black will have a completely different outlook on this topic than you do. Like, to say that we all just, hung out and we didn't think about these things. I actually was in a live quite recently with somebody who coincidentally grew up in the same hometown I did, and she's a year younger than me, and she was like, we didn't care about race, and where I grew up we didn't even see these things. And I got on the live and I had to tell her, I'm like, lady, we're from the same town and we're the same age. I saw the things that you didn't see, and you didn't have to see them because you're white.
Yeah.
Lisa, may I add, Black doesn't crack. I would have never guessed you were Gen X.
I'm on the young side of Gen X, to be fair, but I am Gen X.
Yeah, I was born in 1975.
I was born in 80.
I've just been working my ass off and worried about my family because we've been scraping and crawling. And you know what? When you're scraping and crawling, you're not worried about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, we've all been working and busy too. The thing is those are parts of our lives that they're intermingled we all suffer, we all struggle, and we all have hurdles to jump over. The difference with Black people is that we have the same hurdles you have, except for some of the hurdles that we have also include our struggle because of our skin color.
I can agree with that. It's just, like I said, I've been working so hard, I wasn't paying attention to the last like 3 or 4 years. All I know is I was just trying to keep my head above water. I mean, I don't know if anybody can understand that. That's just me, and I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm just trying to do what I can do for my family.
Oh no, JP!
I'm just a little confused. But I'm just a little confused on your point, JP. Because Vosi was explaining to you Pan Africanism, and then you switched to, well, I struggle and I this and my family
No,
this and
no,
I
no,
that.
no, no,
So
no. I was talking to the other girl who was. I was trying to be like that. Please don't throw it in my face. It wasn't. It wasn't meant to be that way. And I'm sorry if you think it was meant to be that way. I didn't grasp it because I said I wasn't around. I was too
I
busy
mean,
taking
I
care of
think what
you said you were born in what year?
75.
1970,
75.
75. So you were about 8 years old when the Civil Rights Act was signed. So there's no way that you're telling me that this just started in the last 3 to 4 years and you haven't been paying attention. That means you haven't been paying attention since the time you came onto this earth.
hey,
I was 8 years
Because he
old.
didn't have to.
No,
I think
Do
I
you
think the
know?
point, Jonesy, is I was gonna say I think the point, Jonesy, that I'm hearing JP saying is that maybe he was sheltered either by his family or community, such that he was not sheltered in a sense of not brought attention to these social racial issues. Not sheltered in a sense that you didn't struggle at all, but sheltered in a sense that these racial tensions were not being made aware to you.
no. Even
And
by
Am
and
I
that's
correct
what
on that, JP?
that's I'm saying. Even by my friends, that I'm not gonna say because then you're gonna say something else. You know.
No, no, and
No, it's
what we're
fine.
saying, what we're saying, JPC, is that we understand that you probably had like a knowledge that racism was out there, but you never actually saw it around you because you were lucky enough not to have that. And just like how Issa said, that's what white privilege is. Like just around you, that's something that you didn't have to deal with because you just never had to. You know what I mean? That's why you never actually
No,
saw
but
it.
I
But
did.
us, we did.
I did with my friends, and I tried to support my friends as much as I possibly could. I'm
So
not.
you
I
did see it.
So
don't.
that means you did see it
So you
then.
did see it.
No, I did see it, and you know
So
what?
why did you just say you've never seen it before?
That's not what I
Until
said.
Yeah,
these
I'm a
past
little
4 years,
confused.
That's
that's what you said.
exactly no. That's not what he said. He said that he asked, was Volsi a
But
Gen Xer?
how about this?
And then he proceeded to say that he'd never seen anything like that before. That's why Issa
Yeah.
said that she was also a Gen Xer and she's
She
seen that.
has. Yeah, I'm a little confused. Maybe we should
All right.
like
How can I explain?
clarify for us, JPC,
I'll
because
clarify.
we're confused.
You know, I had a lot of good friends that were. I don't know what the right term is anymore. That you know, my
Black.
friends
You
were
can call us black.
African
They were
Americans.
friends. Yeah, they were friends.
African
You can call
Americans
us
in
the
the
B word.
'90s.
Yeah, he calls black. Yeah, we're black. That's fine.
All right. Well, I'm telling you what my
This
friends
isn't
want.
derogatory.
Yeah,
No,
it's not wrong. So it's fine.
I
You
know,
can call
but
us black. It's fine. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that's what my friends wanted me to call them
Gotcha.
back then. You know, in the '90s, the African American was a big thing, and you know, all the. I'm sorry.
All good. Go ahead.
And you know, and I respect every person and everybody's person's fight because I've been through it all, and I've seen my friends fight through it all,
Hmm.
and I support anybody who's fighting through crap, and I will back anybody up that is not like what's the word I'm looking for.
JP, just make it clear for us. Did you or were you not aware about racial tension growing up? Just make that clear for us.
Uh, yes and no. It was. I thought things were going better. How about that? Like from this, I grew up in the '70s. Things were really, really, really bad for Black people, and then in the '90s, I had a lot of good friends, and everybody got along, and we were hanging out, and I had best friends, and everything was going great. I was at that one time where it seemed like everything was coming together. I don't know if anybody understands that.
Okay,
It's
Okay.
I
exactly
see what
what
it
you're
means. Yeah.
saying. You're saying because black people aren't being strange fruited, anymore, and we're not, enslaved, and we're not being legally discriminated against. Things are better, and I wouldn't disagree with you. There's always a timeline where is, and what does it look like to you? Because is racism only like violence, whether it's like verbal or physical,
No,
or
it's like
do you recognize that there's a such thing as like microaggressions
Also, real quick, I feel like the 90s had a lot of racial tension. Like, LA riots happened in the 90s.
Not where I
Yeah, it
live.
depends on it really
I
depends
didn't
on
live
where
in
you live.
LA
It
either.
really
I grew up in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Oh, trust and
wait,
believe
you
there was
weren't.
definitely racism where you were.
Not much
Oh
of
yeah,
TV.
you were in Jersey. Yeah, Jersey.
Yes,
Yeah, had a lot of
tons.
racial tension. New York had a lot of racial tension.
Well,
Florida had a lot.
well,
Florida had a lot.
Hackensack, Patterson,
Mhm.
Newark, all those areas definitely. But I was in Bergen County. It was like
So
Okay,
you
like
you
you
but
were kind of on the outskirts of it. No,
I was
I get what you mean because like I was growing up in South Florida in the '90s, right? There was a lot of racial tension, a lot of ethnic tension. Central Florida had a lot of racial tension and ethnic tension. But I knew someone from Pensacola, Florida. He was like, "Oh, that never happened around here." You know what I mean? So because we're living in Pensacola, like ain't shit over there, you know. So I get it. You know what I mean? I understand what you mean, JPC. But it's just that like in where you were growing up, like just not to be insulting, but in your bubble, it
yeah.
was cool. You know what I mean? But outside of that, yeah, it was a lot of shit happening, bro.
Well, you know what happened after? Okay, I grew up there when I was a teenager, and then I worked and whatever, and I ended up in Patterson, New Jersey, and the bubble came in, and I was not accepted in the bubble.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm
okay.
like,
Uh,
but I got accepted because I was like, you know what? I just talked my truth, and I'm like, everybody should have, everybody should have rights exactly like everybody else, And I just take people for who they are. You treat me good, I'll treat you good. And I think, especially the government and police need to fucking calm down and like.
yeah, that's I mean
JPC,
that's how black folks are.
I wanna say this to you really quickly because the pattern that I'm noticing in this conversation, and don't take this personally. Don't take this personally. Little, just take my words for what they're worth, right? You're coming off as a bit defensive. You're trying to other yourself from other people because you want us to understand that you have seen racism. You probably have never intentionally participated in racism, but it's
Never.
okay to acknowledge that it happens. It does not mean that you yourself practice racism. Just acknowledging it is enough. You went on this tangent, and I get it. It's hard for everybody right now. You went on this tangent about how for the last 3 to 4 years you haven't noticed anything with race because things have been hard and you're worried about your family, and I understand that.
Well, that's
I
about
would be it would be
that's what I said.
unrealistic. It would be unrealistic for me to say to you, you know, don't worry about your family, worry about me and the things that I go through. That's insane. However, just in your day-to-day life, acknowledging that racism is a thing and people experience it, right? And not when hold on, wait. And when black people or Asian people or any minority group are talking to you about a struggle that they're facing, the first thing that you should not do is other yourself, because when you other yourself, it puts you right in the group that you're trying to separate yourself from.
I wanted to add also, because I was a kid in the 80s and 90s just like you, and I grew up in a diverse area, but usually lived in a predominantly like YT community, like my neighborhoods. And this happens even now. Like I live in a city now, like I live in Brooklyn, but this is something I actually, this conversation has me thinking of something that happened a few years ago and the way we see the world versus how YT people see the world. We could be in the same space experiencing the same scenario, and I will be like there, and I'm not going to go into what happened, but there have been times in my life where I experienced racism happening right in front of me along with somebody with me who was YT, and they can't see it, but I can.
I could
So it could have been happening right in front of you and you didn't even notice it, but somebody who's black would notice it immediately. And I get angry about it because now I'm very outspoken about these things. But because I've had so many YT friends in my life, because I've grown up around so many YT people, I have let people talk me out of being of speaking my mind about it. I have let people minimize the situation. I've allowed people to gaslight me into believing I didn't see or hear what just happened so that I don't have to be contrarian or argumentative to keep the peace.
Well, I'm
And
not.
And
minimalize.
I don't no wait, I'm not done. But and I don't do that anymore. But there have been literal times. So like there may have been times where it happened in front of you and you may not have been aware.
I know. I've been aware.
Hey, y'all, I want to go ahead and
No.
hit a quick reset on this, all right? Because right now we dropped out the viewers. But y'all mind if I do a quick reset and everybody comes on back?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be
Reset.
back.
Real quick.
All right, and we are back at it. All right, y'all, we are back at it. Welcome back to the live. Welcome back to the live. We are back at it. If you disagree with anything I got on the board, go ahead and come on up. Let's go ahead and have a quick discussion. Good discussion, good debate. Y'all go ahead and come on up, and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody following. I appreciate anyone who's watching me on YouTube. Appreciate you, anyone who's watching me on Twitch. Appreciate anyone who's watching me on Instagram. I appreciate y'all out there. Y'all go ahead and come on up. Let's go ahead and have a discussion. Let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, y'all. So y'all see the topic of discussion on the board. Go ahead and hit them likes. Hit them likes. Go ahead and join on in. Welcome back, Issa. For the moment, I'm probably gonna run one-on-ones. For the moment, I'm probably gonna run one-on-ones. I know it says 20 minutes each of y'all. Hey, so I know it says 20 minutes each guest, but y'all be I don't know, man. Some of y'all be monologuing, bro. 20 minutes is a long time, man. I might switch this to like 15 minutes. Like, tell you the truth, I might switch that to like 15 minutes because some of y'all be monologuing, bro. Like, for real. Sometimes we got other people who want to come up. You feel me? All right, y'all. But if you want to talk to me about anything I have on the board, go ahead and hit that guest button. Go ahead and come on up. I think starting next week, I'm gonna have a call-in number just in case anyone runs across this on Twitch or runs across it on runs across it on what's that place called again, on Instagram, then people can actually call in and have that debate, have that discussion. But yeah, go ahead and start liking the live, y'all. We got 539 likes already, 12 people in here. Let's go ahead and like the live. And if you disagree or want to talk about anything I have on the board, go ahead and come on up and we could have that discussion. What a hot team. I'm gonna bring you up for a bit, but I'm gonna try to run it one-on-one with the folks, all right?
Sure, no problem. Drop me down whenever.
Nah, no problem. Hey, what's up, Joseph? W Joseph. Hey, y'all. Again, I have a gift goal, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, don't forget to subscribe. You get a lot of cool emojis when you subscribe to me. What's good with your hot team? How's it been on these debate streets?
They're cool.
Yeah, man. It's been rough this past week, man. It's been hard for me to get any good content going because like the people who's been coming up, man, especially when I do my leftist content, the people who've been coming up are just it's been hard to get some good content,
Yeah, man. I don't know if it's like I've debated some folks and they're just like it's like I explain it so well they still don't get it. So when it comes to that stuff, I'm like, damn, it can't be me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not me, bro. Like I get so frustrated with that.
Yeah, it can't be us. Coco been telling me he's been getting frustrated as well. It's been it's been crazy out here, man.
Oh, Coco, bro, you have to take a break, bro.
Yeah, Coco. I was with Coco. You're like, yeah, you got to take a bit of a break, bro, because it's been rough. Deconstruction Zone was just on Tim Pool the other day, and boy, that comment section is not nice.
I gotta watch that. Bro.
Yeah, that comment section is not nice, boy. All right, Martin Polis, go ahead and come on up. I can't invite him for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't allow invites. But Martin Polis, go ahead and request to come up and we'll talk. Give me a second, hot team. I want to make you a moderator. Can manage guests. Cool. All right, you should be a moderator now. You should be able to go ahead and invite people. But Martin, I'm not able to invite him. Martin, go ahead and come on up if you would like to discuss it, if you think that there is lots of evidence of God. I wanted to invite him, but like he has enough followers too. It just won't allow me to. He only has the @ He doesn't have the invite button.
Yeah, I don't see him as eligible to invite either. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, if you guys, if anyone disagrees with what I have on the board, then go ahead and hit that request button. Go ahead and come on up, and we'll go ahead and have a discussion. Let me add the guest link onto my stream as well.
Oh, you're streaming? You're dual streaming?
Yeah, I'm dual streaming. I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on Instagram.
How are you doing that?
Streamlabs.
Damn.
Yeah, you gotta pay for it though. That's the only thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing. You gotta pay for it, but it's all good.
Does it tell you your total viewers across platforms?
Yeah, it does. Right now, I think I only have one because of I had to do a quick reset. But we got people coming in right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing 51.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I keep hitting that like. I keep coming on in. Gingerbread, I appreciate the follow. Appreciate the follow, Gingerbread. All right, cool. I put it up on my YouTube right now. I just got to go ahead and pin it.
You know what the cliche comedy thing about evidence for God is? Just look around. I love that one.
The look at the stars. Yeah, the look at the trees.
Look at the trees.
Look at the trees. All right, official voices. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just
You know, just ignore my name. It was so stupid. I'm gonna probably change it anyways. But the only reason why I have it that way is because I do like different voices of different people. Like I can do like a bunch of politicians, whatever. But anyways, yeah, no, I'm also. I mean, I'm also an atheist. I mean, there's not really evidence. I mean, over the years, I'm 21, so in my 21 years of life, I just it's really hard to know, like, because I mean, so my dad also doesn't believe in God, but he's not like a full atheist. Like he thinks that someone created us. It's just that we just don't know who.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that same thing because I was at that point when I was in my mid 20s. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but then I was like, why do I believe that? Like, there's no reason for me to believe that either. So it's like I just stopped believing it. But I
Like,
don't
can
I'm
you
not
see? Can you see your brain? No. Can you touch your brain? No. Is there can pigs fly? No.
no. Yeah, it's just like it's such
I
a
mean, even the first two questions, actually, yes. If you had a
yeah,
brain surgery to take a picture.
yeah.
I
You
guess,
you
but like,
can see it.
I
Yeah,
guess,
exactly.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what my dad tried bringing. My dad tried pulling that card on me. I'm like, kinda.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
can. Yeah, you kind of can. All right, I'm seeing
Um,
people flow on in and no one's requesting. Vonda, go ahead and request, and we'll go ahead and have a conversation about it. I don't like talking to the comments. I already had the Q&A session. I already had that. So go ahead, if you disagree with something, go ahead and request on up, and then we can go ahead and talk about it. The only thing that Christians prove as Christians is that it's a hateful and yeah, you can justify abuse through it. Like we've seen that plenty of times before. But yeah, Vonda, go ahead and request and come on up because I don't like talking to the comments. It's really annoying. I don't like doing the whole talking to the comments thing. So go ahead and come on up and we're going to have a discussion about it. Don't worry, it'll just be me
yeah.
and you. I could
One
drop a fish on hot team if you want me to. It'll just be me and you.
Yeah, just real quick before I go here.
Mhm.
Another thing I don't really understand is why Christians think like, oh, I'm all for God. God's always watching. I have to be good or whatever. I've seen so many Christians like commit so many sins, and it's like, and then for like the people that are like Christian and then they do bad things, they'll be like, oh, God will forgive me, blah blah blah. Like, oh, don't
If
don't
official
hate,
pause for
don't
me real
hate
quick.
on me because I'm Christian. I'm such a good person.
Gotcha. Official pause for me real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down just really quickly. But don't worry, still go ahead and stay in the comments. Hot team, you too. I know you had to go for a little bit, but go ahead and stay in the comments. Let me go ahead and talk to Vonda for a bit. All right.
Hi.
How's it going, Vonda? All right.
It's
You
going my first time, so bear with me.
not a problem. Now, you said in the comments to reject God is the biggest mistake. What do you mean by that?
Well, to me, for one, it sounds like we agree that there is a higher or a supreme being. No, we don't see God in the fact, the form of a man or a person, because he's greater than. And so I can understand that some people, because it's not something tangible that they can touch, they may have doubt that there is God or a God. But I just do believe that there is a God. I would rather believe that there is a God and there not be I mean, you know what I mean? That there is a God than not believing in God and he exists.
Okay. Well, there are two things I'll say to that. Number one, I don't really agree that there's a higher power unless we're talking about like metaphorically, like for example, like the human will to survive. If you take that as a higher power, cool. I don't have any beef with that. Or if you say that, there are more intelligent beings out there, and to us, their science may be godlike. Sure, I'm not against that idea. But the idea of a god of an anthropomorphic being that created the universe and is guiding our actions or looks over us and things like that, or like what the Bible, the Quran, or the Bhagavad Gita or any other religion says, that's not something that that I believe or that believes to exist because I don't see much evidence of it. And anything like that should be able to be detectable. And if it's not, Why would we believe it? But the second thing I would say is that the second thing you said that you rather would believe in a God. That's kind of what we call Pascal's wager, because how do you know that you chose the right one?
Well, there is only one God. So, in my opinion, because there's not more, you can make something a God, but that's not a supreme being. In my opinion, there's only one God. I was brought up a Christian. I studied the Word of God, the Bible for myself. It can be a complicated book, but I just think that you really have to be focused. It's something that you really want to have to learn and to seek the higher power for the ways and means of how to dissect the Word of God. There are people that have never been to a seminary or a Bible college, but are just as knowledgeable with the same kind of divine understanding of the book. And I think it's actually in the book. It just that you have to make it personal, and it's all in there. In my personal belief.
I mean, what I would say to that is that, for the first thing you said that there is one God because the Bible says so. How do we know what the Bible says is true though? Because there are other religious texts out there. There's the Quran, like I said, the Book of Mormon, the Bhagavad Gita. There's the scrolls that the Taoists wrote. I think there's even Shinto scrolls and stuff like that. So there's lots of religious traditions that have their own holy text. How was the Bible the right one and not all these other ones? Because some of these were actually written before the Bible, especially Hinduism. Hinduism came thousands of years before the Bible was written, or even Abraham was even born. Like when Abraham was born, Hinduism was already, I think, about 2,000 years old. So why isn't that the right one? Well, how did Abraham get it right and everyone else get it wrong? Like that's my question. How do we know that one is true?
I think it all ties in together because the fact that there was human and man all over the continent shows some type of intelligence that, just like you stated, people were writing in different places and different time. So there had to be a forthcoming, some way, somehow, someone that had to have knowledge of something to know that, whether you call it a Quran, a Bible, or what do you call the Hindu, that there was something that gave life. We're not way back then, so we really don't know how to pull it all together. I think because the world, if you go back and believe that it was separated, the earth rather, that at one point it was all together. At some point that did happen. It did split and it went into continents and whatever. But when you look at the globe, you can see how it does actually fit as one. So
I mean, when it comes to the continents were all one continent like 100 million years ago. Humans didn't exist back then, so it couldn't be during that time. And
no, what I'm saying is that how that happened, you have to go back to the ice ages and when things began to break. What I'm trying to establish is that whether it be Hindu, whether it be Christian, whether it be Buddhism, they all have a beginning. But my point is that there was a beginning. And so when you have people of different nations and cultures and languages, people drew from what they knew of a beginning.
Right. I'm not doubting that people made their religions up in their own cultural context. What I'm trying to say is that we can't say that they all came from the same sources because Hinduism, the creation story is way different from Shintoism and is way different from Taoism and is way different from Christianity. Mm-hmm. These are all way different creation stories, so they can't all be the same. And a lot of them even contradict each other. Right. But the second thing I would say is when it comes to all like continental drift, that happened at a time when humans weren't even around. So it definitely didn't happen during the Ice Age times. I mean, Ice Age, yeah, humans were around, but when it came to like the continents pulling apart, that was hundreds of millions of years ago. That humans weren't around at that point, so it couldn't be that couldn't be the time where it came from. They all had just to make them up. You see what I mean? So it's like it's like I said before. We know that the religion of Hinduism was around thousands of years before Abraham was even born. So my question will always be, why come that one isn't the right one? How come Abraham is the right one?
Right. Well, I don't know enough about Hinduism to be able to speak on it. I may know a little bit more about Buddhism, about the Quran and the Bible.
Hmm.
But I would say this is that they all believe in a supreme being. And so when you have different cultures, um, I mean, even in the modern society today, we speak different languages. We're brought up in different times and cultures, and sometimes people create what's comfortable for them. It doesn't mean that it's right, but somehow they knew that it was more than themselves.
Right. I mean, it's not surprising to me that humans will come up with like, personal deities and stuff like that, because humans have done that throughout society, because as human beings, we evolved to understand agency. We evolved to understand that something has a mind of its own. You know what I mean? But when we're the fact that we're agency detectors, it could lead to a sense of false agency. Like you've heard people like personify certain things like rocks and trees and stuff like that, personify them of having consciousness, but they don't actually have consciousness. You see what I mean? And if that's the case, and human beings are living on a planet where there are storms, where there are earthquakes, where there are blizzards and monsoons and things that we can't control and they're out of our power, you know what I mean? Then of course we may personify those things as actual gods. But as we progress in our society, we found out that lightning is just a natural process of this planet. It's not Zeus or Shango or Thor.
Right.
We found out that monsoons are just a natural process. It's not, Yamoja or what's her name, or Orochimaru or Tsunade. You know what I mean? It's not those things. It's just a natural process of our planet. So when it comes to our actual existence, the universe existing, I don't see a reason for it to be something supernatural other than another natural process that we just don't understand yet.
Well, what makes it supernatural, and I know only get so many minutes, what makes it supernatural is that we have the ability to do a lot of things. And in my opinion, God gives us the knowledge and the wisdom to do these things.
Hmm.
Okay. But one thing that we'll never be able to do, and that's create dirt, air, wind. There are certain things that we'll never be able to create. And a human being is one of them. And so whether we believe, I mean, you can clone stuff, that's man taking what God has already given to create something, but we cannot make something out of nothing. In all of our intelligence, we cannot take nothing and make something, or something and make nothing. God gave us something to be able to make something with.
Right. I mean, nothingness doesn't actually exist. Like, there's no such thing as nothingness. So of course we can't make something out of nothing, because nothingness is not a thing. Like, that's like, there's no such thing as nothing, because the moment you point to nothing, it becomes something. So nothingness cannot exist, right? So what I would say is, when it comes to like humans, we actually have all the ingredients. Like, I hate to say it that way, but like ingredients of what makes a human. The reason that we can't like put them all together and poof them out is because like you need to understand like quantum mechanics and stuff like that. It's very, very difficult. But as far as making humans, yeah, sure, we have moms and dads. We know what mommies and daddies do. We all learned that, so that's the way we make humans. But yeah, getting carbon and salt and melanin and all those ingredients together to actually make a human, yeah, sure, we can't make that because we don't have the tools to make that, because it's like putting together a puzzle piece with boxing gloves. That's how I heard it explained to me by a scientist himself, of why we can't make cloning machines. But even if that's the case, I still don't think that implies a God, because you're putting in the God in front, like, this is what God gave us. But how are you actually interjecting a God there that we can't detect or prove to exist yet?
Well, I know that it sounds mysterious about the Bible, and saying that he spit on the dirt and he made a man, and that he made him in his image. It sounds mysterious, and it sounds like a genie. but I would rather believe that that's possible
Let's
because
get
there
it.
is a God.
Okay, but the thing is like you kind of went in a circle. You said that God made it, and I'm asking how do we know that God made it, and you just said God made it. Well, as a circle, how do we know that the God exists in the first place?
Well, I believe in the Bible. That's why I believe in it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, and so
Gotcha.
that's
So it's kind of
yeah.
for the Bible tells me so, but why should I believe the
Right.
Bible?
Well, you don't have to. That's the good thing about God is that He gives us free will and free choice according to the Bible. So
Okay,
I really
here's
can't speak
I,
on the Quran
I got you. I
or
got you. Here's a better question. Why is that convincing?
it's not really convincing. It's the fact that your faith it's a build of faith.
Hmm.
It's what you yeah, it's not, God is not trying to convince anyone of anything,
Hmm. But
but mhm.
do you see why do you understand why I would say the second point where I say faith isn't a reliable pathway to get to the truth?
I think I understand why you say that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I do understand that. So faith is something that's built, and it's your trust in God. Because first of all, if you don't trust in a God, then you're not going to have the faith to believe that so. So I mean, I get the thought process of the atheist.
Hmm.
But now I don't know enough about you, and I find this very interesting. Um, were you ever a Christian or a believer, or you brought up in the faith? Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, my dad is an old school Haitian pastor. Grew up in
Okay,
a Pentecostal
okay,
church. Now my grandmother was a voodoo practitioner,
okay.
and my grandmother on my other side, on my mom's side, she was Catholic. She's now a Protestant,
Mhm.
but yeah, I
Okay,
grew up a Pentecostal, pretty
all
much.
right. Well, it was great. I love this kind of talking because, and like I like what you said. No preaching and no
The
monologuing.
monologuing, yeah,
Yeah,
it's the preaching and monologuing gets it gets bogged down and
yeah,
boring, but
yeah.
I got
And
you.
it's a
But
good talk. So,
not a problem.
um,
I appreciate you being up here, Vonda.
thank you.
Not a problem. You have a great day.
Oh,
You too.
shoes.
All right, y'all. We got 2K likes, 45 people in here. Right now, we got Caleb in Back with More Content. I think I spoke to Back with More Content before. Silly
Oh
man,
yeah.
I'm bringing you up in a second, but go ahead and give me a few minutes. Everybody mute up. I'm going to talk to Caleb first. Caleb, are you over 18, and do you disagree or want to talk about something I have on the board?
Yeah, brother. So yeah, I'm over 18. I am a Christian as well too. Just to kind of lay that out, I'm a believer in Jesus. There's a few points that you have on your board right there that I just kind of want to address, just to kind of see your viewpoint on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Really, I have more of a statement for one, and then I want to see your viewpoint on the other one. The first one is the one that says, "Holy books are claims of God, not evidence."
Mm-hmm.
So, for me as a believer, and I know a lot of, I'm sure you get this a lot. Why do you believe in Christianity? They say because the Bible tells me so, and I can understand how there can be a disconnect because I wouldn't want anybody to believe in my faith just because the Bible tells me so. So what I typically try to tell people is first and foremost that my belief in God isn't based off the Bible, though I do believe the Bible is God's infallible word. My belief in God is based off Jesus and his resurrection. So I'll just make that statement right there. And then secondly, I think it says, let's see, you said God isn't necessary for purpose, morals, or values. So I guess with that right there, if you don't believe in God, then I guess where do you get your what's the standard? What's the conduit that you get your morality from? Like what's your go to say this is moral because this right? What do you get that from?
I base it off a few things: pure human empathy, degrees of harm, negative and positive consequences, and human well-being. Anything that violates those things, I would view as immoral in general, and anything that uplifts those things, I would view it as moral in general.
Okay, so so that's your definition for that, right?
Hmm. And
So what?
I
Yes.
honestly think all of us operate that way, even yourself.
Yeah, of course, I don't disagree with that, but I mean, if you say we all operate that, but you have those people that don't operate in that way, right there. Are those people wrong that don't operate in that way?
The people who don't
Because I mean,
operate.
you're setting a standard,
Mhm.
and if that's a standard, those who don't operate to that standard, are they wrong and are you right?
Yeah, people who don't operate that way are usually have antisocial personality disorder,
So
or they were convinced to view others as they were convinced to view others. They were convinced to dehumanize others. Is it the people who don't operate in the way that I'm talking about either were convinced to dehumanize others or they have antisocial personality disorder, because every human being is born with empathy, all of us.
okay, so I definitely agree with that. However, like I said, I think when you say that you're making an objective claim, and I feel like that's a bit. See, for me, when I talk about God and everything, and when I set him as a moral standard, he's always been the same. He doesn't change. He hasn't changed. So when we begin to say, okay, this is the moral standard, and you set your points why this is the moral standard, anybody that falls out of line with that, I feel like it's a bit uh, almost superior to say that my moral standard is right, your moral standard is wrong. As a believer in God, I can actually sit outside of that box right there and say my moral standard isn't right, your moral standard is right. It's outside of both of us, which is God, who exists before time.
Can you prove that?
Can I prove that God exists before time?
Yeah.
Can you prove evolution?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I can just ask you a few questions and it'll
See
prove it.
the
You want me to
process
do
of
it?
evolution in our lifetime.
Yeah, we have. Have you ever heard of ring species?
I'm sorry, bro. I think you went out right there. Could you say that last part again?
Yeah, we have seen evolution in our lifetime. Have you ever heard of a ring species?
You said a hub ring species. I haven't. You'll have to inform me on that.
A ring species is basically essentially what they do is, like, I think they used it with snakes and with lizards. What they would do, I think there's like a mountain range in California. They will look at a species of lizard, and they will look at different environments in that mountain. And in certain parts of that mountain, all the species that species of lizard would have variants all around the mountain until they comes around to point A again. So point A would have a certain genetics, point B would have certain genetics, point C, point D, point E, point F, all the way to point D. I mean point E, point F, to always point G, and then point A again. You see what I'm saying? And point A and point like C, the ones who are across the mountain, like have a barrier across the mountain, they can't interbreed with each other. But all the other points of species who are next to each other, they can interbreed with each other. That shows speciation, which is
Okay,
part of
so
evolution.
I would say that's more of an adaptation. I wouldn't necessarily call that
That's
the
evolution.
evolutionary process.
That's evolution.
So I wouldn't agree with that. I think we may disagree on that right there.
Define evolution for me, please.
Well, can you define it first? Because I think we may be kind of disconnect right there. Like when I
Change
obviously,
changing a
I'm not familiar with the names. I know of the names, but I don't want to butcher them or not like that. But I believe you may be familiar with that study. I
evolution
can't
at its
remember.
most basic is change in allele frequencies over time, which is adaptation.
So okay, I think we may have a disconnect on that. I don't think evolution and adaptation is the same thing. I think
No,
adaptation, based off what you believe what evolution is, may be.
Caleb, listen.
Go ahead.
That's not what I believe evolution is.
That's
That's
what I'm
literally
saying. I think
definitely.
that's a disconnect.
Hold
I'm
on,
respecting
Caleb.
your
Hold on, wait,
belief
hold on.
on that.
Caleb, listen to what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Evolution is change in allele frequencies over time. That's literally what adaptation is. It's not a disconnect. That's literally how scientists define it.
So if I go to a different area, let's say to the north, I'm from the south. So if I go to the north where the mountains are and the air pressure is completely different, obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult for me. But as I stated, over a course of time, my body will adjust. Is that evolution or is that adaptation?
That's evolution.
Okay, so again, I would
Remember, it's
disagree
not.
with
Is
that.
remember, evolution is a theory of population genetics. So it's not just you. It'll be you and like 10,000 other people who go up into a mountain, and then over time, your progeny, your kids and your children will evolve to survive in that environment. We've seen this before. Like as a matter of fact, you're bringing up a perfect example. There's people in the Himalayas mountains who can survive in the Himalayas without oxygen tanks, and we can't, but they can because they've lived up there for thousands of years. As a matter of fact, there's a group of people who live in, like, I think the Polynesian islands, who actually have webbed feet, and they can dive up to like 20 to 30 feet, up 20 and 30 feet, 20 to 30 meters under the sea, and like for like 20 minutes and completely survive when we can't. That shows evolution.
Again, I think we would have to disagree to agree to disagree on that.
That's
Again,
literally
I'm not.
evolution, my friend. That's literally evolution.
I will really disagree with that, my friend. But I guess another question I would have as well too, because I don't think we'll come to a consensus on that. I guess going back to like morals and everything. So again, I know you said that you kind of set your standard of what morality is. I guess where are you getting that standard? Because you're saying that we all have that. Where are you the judge to say that, well, this is all of our standard? We all have these characteristics. Because I can also say that we all have a conscience, is what the Bible tells me, and that's where we get part of our morality from, because God's law is written on our heart. So I could say that that's the standard, and you're saying your standard, what you said is the standard. So who's right, who's wrong?
Um, well, like I can actually the reason why I say that I'm right is because you would actually have to prove that God did that. I can prove empathy, but can you prove that God wrote something in our hearts?
Okay, so again, to that point, yeah, I guess to that point right there, um, I guess to the basic level when it comes to right and wrong from a human standpoint, I think there's certain things that we can agree that is just objectively wrong in any civilization. Obviously, people. I do agree with your point. How you said, anybody that rejects that has been, kind of conditioned otherwise. But I guess just from the without being conditioned from that base level of what's right and wrong, what your standard is, where are you getting the standard from? Because you're saying it, but where are you kind of deriving that from?
Empathy is innate. We're born with it.
So, okay, I'm trying to understand this. So you say empathy is innate. We're all
We're
born with
born
it.
with it. Yeah. So every social species is born with some form of empathy. Every social species, dolphins, mice, elephants, we're all born with some sort of empathy because
Can you
we have
define
to be.
empathy, please?
Empathy is man, my bad. I don't have a dictionary definition. It's like
No,
I
you
know
good.
what
I'm
it
in the
is,
same
but
predicament. I'm not even in front of my studies right now. I'm just kind
there
of
it
trying
is.
to talk to you.
The ability to understand and share feelings, basically, like understanding and sharing feelings, basically. Like you understand how other people feel, you can share how other people feel, stuff like that. That's basically empathy. We all have that.
But
That's innate in us.
isn't empathy contradiction to evolution?
No,
Because isn't evolution survival of the fittest? So
no.
if I'm being empathetic for, let's say I'm walking down the street and I see somebody that's handicapped or something like that, should I have empathy towards them because they're
Yes.
actually taking up food resources and things like that from my family that may be healthy? Isn't that a contradiction to evolution?
No.
How not?
Because being empathetic to him helps you survive.
How does being empathetic to him help me survive?
Because we're a social species that depends on social interdependence. We have social interdependence, meaning that we depend on everybody else. Like, for example, for your lights to turn on today, people had to go to work, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so we're a species of social interdependence. We all depend on one each other. So it makes sense in evolution for us to develop empathy, because if we're always antagonizing our neighbors, we wouldn't survive for long.
Okay, sure. I just feel like that's kind
That's a
of
byproduct of evolution. That's empathy literally proves evolution. Like it shows that that's what evolution would do. Every social species has evolution has empathy. Apes have it, chimpanzees have it, orangutans have it, and we've seen experiments with that where every single social species, exhibits empathy, even mice.
So where does that empathy come from? If it's in all of us, where does it come from? Is that just a trait that we have at birth?
Yeah,
Because I will argue that this is something that God gives every person at the core of their being. You see what I'm saying? Because you're saying this, but I can say that it's God. So who's right, who's wrong?
Empathy comes from our brain. It's a psychosomatic thing. It comes from our brain.
So I say that it comes from God. You say that it comes from the brain. Again, who's right, who's wrong? How can you prove that? Can you prove that?
I can show it through multiple psychiatric studies. How
So you
can
can
we show
you
God?
can show through studies. Can you kind of give me a study or something like that? At least one.
Yeah, there's a study on mice that showed
No,
empathy.
not mice, not
On
mice.
humans?
A human study. Yeah,
A human study on empathy?
sure.
Okay, sure. And let me ask another question. Why this is something that's always interesting to me,
Of
because
course.
whenever we as non-believers bring this up, y'all kind of expect us to not only know everything about evolution and science, but now everything about psychology as well. Why don't y'all look this up?
No. That's not it. So the point I'm trying to make is that you're making claims without evidence. Obviously, I'm making
So
claims
are
as well
you.
too. Okay, sure, but tell me. I mean, the claims.
The
But the burden is on you right now. I'm asking
the
you
different
questions. You gotta prove it to me.
No, you have to prove your God
But
to
at
me
the
because
same
you're the
time,
ones who claiming
we're
that
both
God
doing the
exists.
same thing though. So you're saying I don't have evidence, you don't have evidence. So who's right,
No,
who's
no,
wrong?
actually, I do have evidence because there is
The
studies
studies.
on human empathy. So
Okay, so the
what
burden of
evidence?
proof
What?
is on you right now.
Okay, but so are you doubting that there's studies on human empathy?
No. Of course not. I'm not doubting that there's
Okay, so
studies on
there's no
human
reason to ask
empathy,
me for
but
that.
you're
If you
making
know,
these claims.
if hold
I'm
on,
just
wait, hold
asking
on,
for it because
Caleb,
you
Caleb,
brought up
Caleb, Caleb,
mice.
wait, come on, Caleb. If you know there are research and studies on human empathy, why would you ask me to give you research and studies on human empathy? You know it exists.
Well, the first thing I doubt that. I mean, just kind of being realistic. I'm sure
All
there
right, so
is
you
some type of
doubt that
study.
humans have empathy? I'm not sure what you're doubting here.
No. Please, no. That's not what I'm saying. I just kind of using common sense. I'm pretty sure that there's a study on some type of human empathy. I would really hope so, at least at this point in um in our education, and I would hope so. But again, when I brought that up, the first thing you went to was mice. You know what I'm saying? Again, you're making these, you're saying this, and you brought up a mice. Sometimes, and I'm not trying to do that to bash you. I don't want you to. I'm trying to bash you, not like that. So if you're taking it like that, I do apologize. I don't want to be disrespectful to you in any way or fashion, but um
The
again,
reason why I
brought
brought
Okay,
up
up
so if you
mice,
want to if you want a human example, look up Jeremy Rifkin. He is a scholar, and him along with other scholars have written works about how empathy actually developed through evolution, because empathy was the way
I was
that
still having a conversation because I was on mute,
Yeah,
respectfully.
respectfully. No
excuse
hold
disrespect.
me.
on,
Oh, no,
everybody
no, no,
pause, everybody
no.
pause,
No
everybody pause,
disrespect.
everybody.
No
Hold on,
disrespect.
wait, everybody pause. Jonesy is a mod, so she can go ahead and interject inside into the
Fair.
conversation.
Oh,
But can I
I didn't know
conversate
that.
with you, Valsi? With all due respect. No disrespect, Jonesy. I
No,
respect you
it
a
is
1,000%.
disrespect, because I'm just
Okay.
giving you the answer that you asked
I'm
for. You
asking
said
him
that
though,
you
not
said
you.
you said that you wanted a human study, and I'm offering you one. So now you
Right.
don't
But
want
I'm
to
asking,
take
the
it
burden of proof
because
isn't on you. The
I
burden of
guess
proof is on
I
him
guess
right now.
because you practice misogyny, you just don't want to speak to me, right?
Oh, so we're making judgments now. Interesting. Okay,
No,
again, at
I
the end,
don't cast judgment on
but you
people.
just called me misogynistic, and I haven't in any way
All right, pause
disrespected no
everybody,
woman
pause
or
everybody,
gender.
pause everybody, pause everybody. We're going off the rails. All right, Caleb. Here's a study. It's called Mirror Neurons and Empathy. It says research indicates that mirror neurons, which activate both during action, execution, and observation, play a crucial role in empathy by allowing individuals to understand others' actions and emotions. It was a paper by Nature, and there was also a paper in a paper called a journal called Parents, and there's a paper that was written by Franz de Waals on primate empathy. And since humans are primates, that shows that we're born with empathy as well. Like chimpanzees, they exhibit empathy, and chimpanzees are the closest related species to humans. Is that good enough for you?
That's fine, my friend. I guess I won't even get into that. But again, I don't want to be disrespectful, my friend. And Jones makes it. I was having
Oh,
a
damn.
conversation with Bosi, and I would like that conversation to be respected. So I do hate that you called me misogynistic. I'm far from that. That's a judgment to your character. I do apologize.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that. I accept your apology.
Okay. So that okay.
All right, Caleb.
People do
We're
stupid.
actually
They don't
out
care
of
Yes,
about
we're out
time,
of
but
time.
I
I
think
understand.
I think we're out of time. But I think Jonesy had one last thing to say. Go ahead, Jonesy.
Okay.
Have anything to say?
All right, not a problem.
how
I
you doing, sir.
appreciate
Yeah,
you,
of course,
Caleb,
Bosi.
for being up.
How often are you on, my friend?
And I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I just did a reset today, so for me to do a special live. All right, Jonesy, I appreciate y'all. Jonesy in the chat. Hey, yo, I do have a subscription goal and I do have a gift goal. Go ahead and gift me up. I appreciate everybody else being up here. And remember, y'all, Jonesy is a mod, so she can interject in any of the conversation if she wants. All right, we're back with more content. And Silly Man, I know you're there. I'm gonna get to you in a second. Just let me talk to Back real quick. Back, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to address the comment that you made about the people that can dive on the water and all that stuff that you was talking about. That you said that's proof of evolution. Can you continue with that?
Yeah, I forgot their names. I'm looking at their names
Oh
right
man,
now.
Jossie left. I really want to talk to her too, but man, okay. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, Jonesy, come back up. Give me a second. I think they're Polynesian.
Yeah, come back up, Jossie.
forgot their names. There they are, the Beiju divers. They're a tribe that they can stay underwater longer. I think they can stay about 20 minutes underwater, and they can dive very, very deep. Because of their environment requires a lot of like seafood and stuff like that.
Right.
So they can dive for and they've been there for like thousands of years. So they're basically sea nomads at this point. Yeah,
So
that's
what
shows
are
evolution.
what are the difference between those people and special operations groups that do the same thing?
They don't.
Sir.
Special operation. The difference
Okay,
between
let's-
them.
okay,
Hold on.
hold
I
on.
can answer.
I'm in that. Okay,
I
listen.
can answer. The difference
Are you in
between
the
them.
military?
I can answer. The difference between them. I was in the military for 6 years. The difference between them and special operations group is that special operations group are trained, and these guys can just do it. They're born with that ability.
Okay. What branch were you in?
I was in Air Force.
What was your MOS?
I was a 2A653 egress.
Okay, great. All right. So the Air Force and Army is two different things, two different worlds, right? Okay.
Yeah,
So I've been embedded with a lot of guys and whatever, man. I'm telling you, I'm not guessing or assuming. I don't know where you get your studies from, but we're not even talking about the United States. We're talking about Britain. We're talking about Germany, GIGN. We're talking
Please
about
get to your point.
we're talking
Please
about
get to your point,
okay.
man.
So basically, what I'm talking about, British SBS. I know there are guys that can do the same thing. I'm telling you that. I'm not guessing. I'm not trying to give you no false studies. There are guys that can do the same thing, buddy.
Okay,
Same
back.
thing.
I didn't.
So the
Hold on.
difference
Wait.
between-
Hold on. Let me
All right.
let me answer back. I never said that they can't do the same thing. I said the difference is that those guys were trained to do it, and the
Thank you,
Beiju
sir. Now
divers.
listen.
Hold on, Beiju. Let me finish. The Beiju divers are simply born with the ability. They're born with the ability. They're not trained to do it. They're born with the ability. So the guys that you're talking about, yes, I understand. The army guys, the people who are special ops in other countries, they have to do these things because over months and years of training, that's when they learn how to do it. These guys are Beiju divers. 5-year-olds can do what they do. That's what I'm saying. They're born with the ability. That's the difference.
They're not. The 5-year-olds cannot. They gotta be trained to do it,
The
sir.
Beiju divers,
No, the kids gotta be trained to do it because it
not the
takes
Beiju
time.
divers, not the Beiju divers. They can
Not
actually
all-
do it
listen,
at birth.
listen. You have never seen a child. Okay, you haven't been there.
I'm
and
talking
seen
about the
child.
Beiju divers, my friend. They're born with this
I hear
ability.
what you're saying. I know. I hear what you're saying, but it sounds like you're kind of getting upset at me, man.
I'm not getting upset at you. I'm not getting
upset.
I'm not getting upset.
Okay,
I'm not
you
getting.
want me to mute?
Hold on. Jack.
right.
Listen, I'm not getting upset at you. But the issue is that you're actually not listening to what I'm saying. The Beiju divers I'm talking about, they can actually do this at birth. They're born with this
heard you,
ability.
sir.
Hold on, wait, stop. They're born with this ability. The kids don't have to be trained. That's wrong. They are born with this ability. Now the army people have to train. You're sitting here saying that, oh, kids have to be trained with this. No, I'm talking about these specific group of people. They do not have to do that. So you simply saying, oh, kids have to be trained has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. These kids do not. They're born with the ability. That's the
I
difference.
heard you. You're saying it. You're repeating yourself, man.
Okay, so address that.
I am addressing it, man.
No,
But
you're
you
not.
gotta
You said that
understand.
the kids have to be trained. Don't say that again because then you're not addressing it.
No.
So address what I
say,
said.
I could say, listen, but you can't dictate how I talk to you. You know what I mean? I'm not being
Yes, I can
disrespectful. I'm not
because
being
you're in my live. Yes, I
yeah.
can.
But I understand because I
So
gotta
address
finish
what I
running.
said,
I
friend.
gotta-
Address what I said. Go ahead.
gotta finish. You're gonna start running, man.
Go ahead. Address what I said.
Yeah, I gotta finish. You're gonna start running. Okay.
Address what I said and stop
I didn't
crying,
even land my
please.
plane yet.
Go.
I am addressing what you're saying. You don't like the answer. What I'm telling you, you have not been there. Just because you watched, listen, just because you watched a little documentary, you have not been there to see how those people train their kids
So
to
can
do
you
this.
disprove it?
Okay?
Can you disprove it?
You can't prove it.
Yes, I can.
I can't disprove it. You
We
can't
we
prove
have
it,
the
sir.
studies here. We've seen it. We can prove it.
You talking about studies. Listen,
They
listen.
study
You
these
watched-
people, sir. They study these people.
goodness, man.
So what do you have to disprove what I said?
Again, you talking about you talking about a little episode that you watch on TV, okay?
I
Of
literally have a
somebody's-
study, my guy.
Oh my goodness, bro. Man.
Stop saying "oh my goodness" and actually address my point.
Sir, I'm addressing you. You don't like it, man.
No,
Listen,
you're not.
are-
No, you're not. Hold on.
Listen,
Mute up. Mute up. Mute up. Mute up. Mute up. Mute up. Mute up.
like,
Mute up.
I
Mute
ain't
up.
been
Mute
doing
up. Mute up.
I'm
Mute
wondering
up.
if he's ever actually
Hold on.
been to the Philippines.
He hasn't. Go. Give me a second.
Because
He's like, hold on. Give me a second.
He
Give me a
hasn't
second. Give me a
either.
second. Give me a second. Give me a
I'm
second.
from the Philippines. I'm half Filipino. I was born in the Philippines.
Exactly. So back. This is my
What that got to
frustration
do
with you.
with it?
Be quiet for a second. Back. This is my frustration that happened with you at the last time. Every time I bring up a point, you be like, oh, but you haven't been there. Irrelevant. You haven't been to Jupiter, but you know it exists. Irrelevant if I haven't been there. Hold on. Back. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Saying, oh, you haven't been there is irrelevant to the point. You've never been to Saturn. Does Saturn exist? Yes, it does. So you just can't say you've never been there in order to refute the point.
Okay.
That doesn't refute anything.
Okay, great.
What I'm saying is that this actually shows what evolution is and actually proves evolution. What do you have to refute that?
I already
Saying
did.
you haven't been there doesn't
okay,
refute
listen.
anything.
Can I speak, sir? Or you want to continue speaking? Because I'm confident in what I'm talking about. But go
Okay,
ahead.
I know you're confident, but what you're saying is stupid.
Yeah,
You
okay.
haven't
I'm about to
you
show
haven't
you
been there. You haven't been there is not a refutation of evolution. What do you have to refuse it? Do you have any genetic studies? Do you have any
got more?
biological studies? Do you have paleontology? What do you have to refute it?
Good.
What do you have?
Good. All right. You got any more? Are you ready for me to speak, man? It's too easy. All right. So you said that I never been to Jupiter, but we know that exists. Okay, great. I haven't been to the Philippines, and you haven't been to the Philippines, but people that got the ability to dive down exist. Okay? That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't prove nothing. Okay? That just lets you know how far your bodies can go, right? For training. Okay? You'll be surprised what your body can do, man, when it's put to stress. And not only that, but training. You know what I mean? So continuous training, dedication, and consistency, you're gonna get the same abilities. It's nothing special. You're talking about they did something, they do something special. Like you said, these guys have to do it to survive. They have to do it to survive too. Okay, to get this fish. That doesn't mean anything. They will never grow gills, sir. Oh, so let's talk about gills, right?
Okay, so let me go ahead and respond to that. I'm going to go ahead and respond to that. I'm going to respond to that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Because
let me go.
talk about genetics, right?
Bro,
Can I
dude,
finish?
no. Let me go ahead and respond to
Can I
what you're
cook?
saying. Let me go ahead and respond to
trying
what
to
you're saying.
cook.
Let me go ahead and respond to what you're saying. The difference
about
is
the
the difference is between these Beiju divers and the people that you're talking about is, again, these people don't have to be trained and they have physical differences. For example, the spleen in Beiju divers are bigger than the non-spleen than people who are not part of the Beiju tribe. You understand that, right? And that gives them the ability to dive more. They also have more web fingers and more web feet, which gives them the ability to swim better. These are things that they're innately born with. All right. Now I understand that everyone will be able to get to a certain point if you train better. But I am not born with web hands and web feet. I'm not born with a bigger spleen. I'm not born with the neuroplasticity of these people. They are born with this ability. You understand that? They are physically born with these things, which means that it gives them the ability to dive better, the ability to swim longer. It gives them all of those abilities that we are not innately born with, and these people are.
Can
So
I
the
just
difference
like,
between
really quick,
hold on, back. Let me
Can I
finish.
just real quick?
Go ahead, Ethan.
I don't think he knew who the Bayesian people were until you even mentioned them at all, but he immediately went into try to say it wasn't a real thing and they didn't exist. I said I'm from the Philippines, and he said it didn't matter that because I didn't know. It didn't matter because you'd watch some documentary whether it was true. These are well-known people. They've existed for several. They've been able to have do these things for several generations. They are real people. They don't need to be trained to do it. They've been doing it for so many generations that they're literally born with the ability to do that. Even in the Philippines, I immigrated from the Philippines to the U.S. They're a well-known people. They can literally be underwater for like 15 minutes, and they're born with that ability to do that. And the thing about the webbed feet and webbed hands, that is also real. They've evolved to be that way because their people it's a tribe, and they've been doing it for multitudes of generations. So it's okay not to know something. If you never heard of it before, you can't immediately say it doesn't exist if it's something you never heard of up until this conversation. I don't know how you're going to minimize its existence when you never heard of it before.
Okay. All
When
right.
it comes to genetics, do we share 98% of our DNA with chimpanzees and bonobos?
I want to address. You know what I mean? I want to address it. I want to address it, man, because this is just too simple. Because you ate.
What's
I ain't even
simple?
gonna
You
go there.
haven't said
Okay, so
anything
all right.
factual.
Okay, no problem, man. I heard what you said. All right.
All right. So these people
Okay,
are
so what
innately
the way?
born with these physical traits, right? So
I heard
that
what
which
you
makes them different than people who
listen,
just physically trained for it.
man.
So
Okay,
that
it's,
that
Issa,
would that
okay,
would
hold on.
actually
Let me
show
ask.
a trait of evolution, because the
It's
evolution
not,
actually
man. It's not.
evolution
It's not.
predicts this to happen.
Samoans.
Too easy.
Evolution
Let him
predicts this to happen.
let him say what he needs to
Yeah,
say.
Samoans.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Samoans, Asians, they all have different. They have different features from Brit people from Germany. They doesn't prove anything. Okay, so all right. So now, Issa, you seen a baby born with web feet?
Are born with they're not
Listen to
fully
me.
webbed like a frog.
Oh, okay. Now listen to me. Okay.
Wait,
Like
you
you
didn't
just
even
said,
let
they're
me
not.
finish. Wait. You asked me a question and then you're not going to let me complete my answer.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Because you haven't seen it, but go ahead.
I feel like you're trying to control the conversation and you do this thing where you're like, oh, it's so
I'm gonna
easy, it's
mute.
so
I'm
simple
gonna
when
mute
you
then.
literally
He is.
haven't
He
added
did
anything
this
to the
last time.
conversation yet.
Hold
He
on.
did
I'm
this
Oh,
last
now they
time.
upset.
I'm
See, they
confused. Wait, back. What is your premise? Is your premise that evolution is not real?
it's if you allow me to speak, I can show you. Like it would take me
It's a
5
yes or
minutes to
no, bro. Is
This is the
evolution
Yes,
real or
first
answer
thing that
not?
I've
It's not.
said to
It's
you.
never
because
been real.
that would put us in a place where we know where we're
We
going.
know what we're talking. I just
Okay,
want to know
so
what you're
okay,
talking about. So your
so
premise
back.
is that
How many people am I
evolution
Evolution
talking
is
isn't
to?
not
real.
real.
All right,
Okay.
you're talking to all of us. All right, so his premise is evolution is not real. My question has always been the same thing. If evolution is not real, how do you explain genetics and paleontology and
I heard
morphology? How do you explain all of that? I know you heard me, but you never actually answered the question. All right, let's just talk about phylogenetics. Every species on this planet is related to everything else. Can you find one species that's not related to something else? Because if you can do that, if you can find one species on this planet that's not related to something else, that would disprove evolution. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can definitely do that, man.
Name one species that's not
For,
related
for,
to everything else. Go ahead. Name one.
it's not. Man, listen, listen. All right. So first of all, I want to finish addressing Esau.
No. Back. Name one
Also,
species that's not
you
related
want
to
to
everything
backpedal
else.
from that?
No.
Okay.
Name one species that's not related to everything else.
One species, octopus.
The octopus is related to squid. So
It's
name one
related
species
to.
that's not
Hold on,
related
hold
to
on, hold
everything
on,
else.
hold on. Sir, relax. It's related to squid.
Yes.
Okay.
Name one species that's not related
Okay.
to everything else.
So can they
No.
reproduce?
Name one species that's not
No,
related to
wait,
everything
wait,
else.
wait,
Name
can they
one
repro-
species that is
I
not
just said
related to everything
squid.
else.
I
Octopus
just
are
said
related to squid.
they're
But name
not.
another one.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Squid.
Yes, they are.
Squid.
Like tigers and lions
No,
come from
okay.
different genomes, but they're all related.
No, they no. See, listen, man.
Name
They
a
have
species that's not related
I
to
just told
everything
you.
else.
I just told you. I just give you my answer. You don't like it.
Octopus are related to other species, friend.
No,
We're not going
they
to be
have
able
a
to have a
They're all
genuine
listen.
conversation
they're
if you don't
all
actually know what you're talking
cephalopods.
about.
No,
They are
listen,
all
They're
listen.
all
cephalopods.
cephalopods. Fucking octopus,
Yeah.
Octopus,
cuttlefish,
squid,
squids,
jellyfish are all cephalopods. They're in the same
cephalopods.
family. They're related. So name one species that's not related to everything else. Octopus is not it.
I just told you.
You're
This-
wrong.
I'm not wrong, and I'm gonna
Yes,
show
you
you that
are.
I'm not
Are
wrong.
they
If you allow me to
cephalopods?
speak.
Are they cephalopods?
Yeah, you're running, man.
Are they
It don't matter what
cephalopods?
they. It don't matter
Yes,
what they
it does
are.
because that's how they're
Because I'm gonna tell
related, you idiot.
Okay, can you show me where they came from, sir?
What do you mean where they came from?
Can you show me? Can you show me where they came from? Where they evolved
What do you
from?
mean by that? I don't know what you're,
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking
okay,
about.
I'll give you a simpler one. I'll give
How
you a
did they
simpler one.
evolve? I don't know how they evolved. Talk to a
but-
biologist. Talk to a marine biologist.
You
I don't know how
don't know,
they
but you
evolved.
believe it. You don't know, but you believe
don't
it.
even know
Okay.
what a cephalopod
Okay,
is.
You don't even know what a
said you don't know.
cephalopod is.
Issa, he just said he don't know, but
Do
he
you
believes
know what
it.
a cephalopod
Okay,
is?
okay, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yes, it does because that's how they're related.
Okay, so
I don't know how they evolved. You have to talk to a
don't know
marine
how, but you
biologist.
believe it. But you believe it?
Yes, because there is
believe it in
evidence. Because there is
In faith,
evidence.
right?
No, because there's
In faith.
evidence. Because
But you
there's
just said you
evidence.
don't know.
Because there's evidence.
You just said you don't know.
I'm not a marine biologist. Of course I wouldn't know.
You know, how you got to believe in something and not research it to know?
What are you talking about? I have researched it.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
I have researched it. I have researched it.
Okay, so you want to talk
I
about
have
Central Cross.
researched it. They're cephalopods, which
One
means
of
they're in
the
the same
earliest-
family.
One of the earliest
Jesus
known
Christ.
cephalopods is Plectronorosaurus, which lived about 500 million years ago. Fossils of this species showed it had a straight shell and is considered one of the first recognizable members of the cephalopod lineage.
You know what's annoying about this? The anti-evolution people, they expect us to be experts in genetics, in biology, now marine biology, in astronomy, and history, and genetics and physics. They don't have to know anything. They don't have to know anything. So back, can you show me how octopus and squid are not cephalopods? Can you show that?
You could give it a scientific name. That's cool. But I'm talking about the specific. Look, listen, I'm talking about the specific.
Do they have similar genes or what?
Sir, if they did, they would operate the same. Do they operate?
They do operate the same. They both have
They
tentacles.
operate the same. They hunt the same.
Yes, they have tentacles.
You
Jesus
haven't watched
Christ.
behavior. Okay.
All right,
Alright.
back. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. This is ridiculous. I'm done with this. I'm really, really done with this. Like, this is, I don't think I'm ever gonna bring it up again. This is ridiculous, man. I am so done with this. I am so done with this. The man doesn't even know what cephalopods are, but he expect me to be a marine biologist. Really? This is like ridiculous, man. This is completely ridiculous. The man expects me to be a marine biologist, and he doesn't even know what cephalopods are. Like, I don't. Am I going crazy here? Am I the crazy one?
No, he's disingenuous. That's all.
No, back. I'm not bringing you up. You're a fucking moron. I'm not bringing you up. I appreciate you, Jones and Issa. I appreciate y'all.
He skipped from topic to topic to topic, saying nothing at all. You realize that whole conversation, he said nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All he said was, "Oh, you're not there to see it." What the hell does that mean? Oh my God.
It was a useless conversation from the jump, because no matter how much you'd prove, the goalpost would continue to move, and he would say nothing.
Just, oh my God. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, silly man. You said that you actually had proof of or evidence of God. Is that correct?
You know what? I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
All right, wonderful. Jonesy and Issa, go ahead and let me talk to him for just a few minutes. I promise I'll bring you guys back up. All right. All right, appreciate y'all. All right, silly man. Go ahead and give your best shot.
You don't mind if I'm a little nervous? I've got some nerves going, but you said something that was very key to what I think a big part of theology is all about, and you said that nothingness cannot exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my idea, and why I think that's important, is because if you conceptualize that, I think there's something key about something that exists. It has to either exist or not exist. Do you agree with that? If something has to either exist or not exist, those are the two frames.
Something either has to exist or not exist. Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay. So you agree that nothing doesn't exist.
Yeah, nothingness cannot be a thing. It doesn't exist.
So everything has to exist.
So everything has to exist? No.
Well, okay. So here, let me put it this way. If something does exist, nothingness doesn't exist. So if something does exist, it can't go into nothingness. So stuff that exists has to exist eternally.
Stuff that has to exist eternally? I'm not even sure what you mean by that.
Okay. Let me try to ground this a bit.
Like nothingness is not a thing, right?
Yeah,
like something,
exactly.
everything has to all of a sudden exist, but that doesn't mean that things have. There's no such thing as nothing, right? But that doesn't mean that if I think of pink dragons, that has to exist, or otherwise nothingness has to exist. No, it could just be my imagination.
I'm not saying that like every single possible thing has to exist on its own. I'm saying that the opposite of non-existence is an infinite existence.
No. Because the opposite of non-existence is not infinite existence, because we definitely exist and we're not infinite, so we're a finite existence.
Okay, but you agree that our consciousness exists, right?
Yeah, sure.
And you believe that stuff is real. Like if you look around and there's like matter that's like that exists and it's like in a location.
Sure.
If something's real and if it's in a location, then it does exist. And okay,
Sure.
I don't. Okay, I don't want to talk in circles and point out nothing. I want to make sure that we are both like following along, and I don't want to waste your time. Okay.
What are you trying to get at, actually?
I'm trying to point out the logic that might lead you to the idea of God being real.
Okay. What is that?
Okay. Let me think for a second to formulate this, all right? Because, all right. Would you agree that the opposite of non-existence is experience?
I'm not sure if
Because if
that
something
makes
doesn't
sense.
exist, if something does exist, logically it has to be experience.
If something does exist, then it has to if something exists, then it'll manifest in our sense experience. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
Can I ask you to do like a thought experiment?
Sure.
All right. Can you just think about the imagery of what it means to exist and what it means to be not existent? Or can you think about the imagery of there either being existence or non-existence as the primary sources of being, and what it actually means to exist and what it means to not exist?
No, I can't do that. What it means to
man.
not exist, that doesn't make any
Maybe
sense.
I made that too difficult. Maybe I could phrase that easier for you.
It's not that is difficult. It's that it's nonsense. Imagine
nonsense?
imagine not existing. That doesn't make any sense.
No, okay. I'm trying to point out like fundamental rules of existence.
Okay.
Okay. So you agree that there is no non-existence. Let's just start from the beginning, and I'll try to make this make as much sense as possible.
Right. I'm not saying there is no non-existence. Like when you die, you don't exist. But like I'm talking about like nothingness, absolute nothingness. That's not a thing. Nothingness cannot exist.
I agree. I agree, and that will be the platform.
Like even in science, like that's not a thing. Like even in science, like when physicists try to take everything into a vacuum, they see that like elementary particles pop in and out of existence all the time. So like that's quantum foam. Like there's no such thing as nothingness. Something has to always be there.
That's actually really interesting, and I've never thought about that. What if something pops out of existence? Would it mean that it doesn't exist?
No, it just could be going to another dimension.
It could be going to another dimension of existence.
Yeah,
So
it could be like
would still
physics
be
that
in
we just don't
existence.
understand yet. It's probably just physics that we don't understand yet.
Okay. So it still does exist because non-existence doesn't exist. It just exists in a different kind of existence.
Right, it could be something different, like a different kind of existence, but we just don't understand how or what yet.
All right.
But as far as our universe is, there's no such thing as nothingness. There's always quantum foam. Something always has to exist.
So what does it mean to be something? Like
Material, matter.
But if you think about it, I disagree, and I'll try to make sense why I disagree, but it's very abstract.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm wasting your time. I want to be on point. I'm a little brain scattered.
No, not a problem.
nervous.
No, no problem. Go ahead.
And I appreciate you because you're actually really good at talking, and you're a really good host. That I've noticed that.
I appreciate it.
All right. So, if you think about it, I used to when I first started thinking about what everything is, I used to think that I used to feel that logically existence had to have had a beginning. You know, there had to have been something first. I felt that, but what do you think about that? What do you think about just that line of thinking?
What that existence had to start from somewhere?
Yeah, like what do you think about like the idea of like existence, the idea that there had to have been a beginning, or you know.
I'm not opposed to the idea that existence had to start from somewhere, or there had to have been a beginning. But I don't think that beginning is necessarily a god or gods.
No, I'm not going to say it is either, because that's very speculative. But I'm going to try to point something out here.
Sure.
Okay. And sorry if I'm talking very slowly, because I'm really thinking.
All good.
So if everything had to have had a beginning, it wouldn't make sense for that beginning to have come from nothingness, would it? What do you think about that?
Right. That's why I've always said that there's no such thing as, coming from nothing, something that always had to exist. Energy is probably eternal. You know what I mean? Things like elementary particles probably are always eternal. And because elementary particles like electrons, leptons, and quarks and stuff like that, you don't get any smaller than that. That's all there is. Like that's the smallest
So
that you can
you
go.
agree that existence didn't come out of non-existence? Is that what you're saying?
Right. There's always had to be something. Existence didn't come out of non-existence. There's always something
so
there.
If we use that line of thinking, then we couldn't have come from nothingness. Then there must have always been an eternal somethingness forever.
Yeah, of course. There always had to be something.
Okay. And I don't think that something can be matter. I'm going to just point that out there as just an idea right now while I'm thinking.
All right, sure. Why not?
What it means to be something, like what it means to exist, what it means to be real. In order for something to be real, it can't go in and out of existence.
Why not? I mean, we see that happen with leptons and
if something
quarks.
is true, then it always is it always exists. If something is true. Actually, maybe that's false, but because something can be true for now and be false later.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But
Let me.
fundamentally, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I got you. Okay. So can I just say this here? I mean, you told me that when you were in the comments, you told me that you had a good argument for God that I haven't heard before. But this sounds a lot more. This sounds a lot like the cosmological argument. It sounds like a lot like the fine tuning argument. It sounds a lot like those. Even the T argument. It sounds like those. So I think I've heard these before. So you're saying that something had.
I'm trying to point out something new. I'm not trying to be like that.
Right. Existence had to come from like something had to. Like, are you saying that like all the universe had to have a beginning essentially?
I'm saying that I don't think there was a beginning, and part of my belief is that it always exists.
Okay, yeah, I could accept that the universe was probably always eternal, and our current presentation is just something that is finite. Sure.
Okay, we agree on that. Okay, and when I said that I had like a really great argument for God, what it means is that I have like a bunch of really great logical concepts that might point you into that direction.
All right, sure. Like what?
Well, I would like you to think, and I would just really like you to think about location and the implications that there is such thing as reality, and we don't not exist.
Yeah, sure. Reality is here, and we all exist in it.
I feel like I'm wasting your time, so I'm going to try to really dig in the heels here and really try to get something solid for you.
Okay, cool.
I believe that if something exists, it has to exist as an experience. And I guess I just want to really see what you think about that.
You have to say that one more time. I don't think I caught it.
If something truly exists, it
Mhm.
has to be an experience.
If something truly exists, it has to be an experience.
The opposite of non-existence is experience. Because what else could it be? Logically. Think about it.
Okay. Probably. I mean, like, I don't know, not really, because people can experience things that are not real.
But it's real to experience.
Oh yeah, sure. Like it could be like real to them. They
experience lies. People can hallucinate.
Yeah, people can hallucinate. People can have delusions. So we can experience things that are definitely
But
not
the
real.
fundamental experience isn't a lie. It's the truth of the experience that person is experiencing.
Yeah, the person had an experience, sure. Like that part is true. The person had an experience, but that doesn't mean what they actually did experience is true. Like people who have delusions.
Going in a direction that is like a little bit off-centered. A little bit off-centered.
Right. No, so you said if something is real, it has to be experienced, not necessarily
Yes.
because people can experience things that are not true.
No, I think you're thinking a little bit in like a lower dimension here. I'm not trying. Okay, let's rethink that. Okay, if something exists, it has to be experienced. Really try to just sit with that for a second. Really conceptualize
Right.
that.
I understand that if something exists, it has to be experienced. What I'm saying is that people experience things all the time that do not exist.
I'm not okay.
Like
I
for
think
like
I
for
just found
example,
out where
like
we
for
disagree.
example, like for example, I know people who had really bad trips on shrooms, and they were talking to like Mario and the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that definitely does not exist, but they experienced it.
Okay, let me put it this way, all right? I'm not saying that everything that you experience is real in terms of true or false. I'm saying that existence has to be real. Okay, I'm saying that everything that exists is real and has to be experience because the only thing that can be real is experience itself. Not like the details of the experience doesn't really matter. It's more in the concept.
Okay, so it's basically what I said before. Things that exist will eventually manifest in our sense experience. Sure.
We're in a completely different conversation right now.
Yeah. All right. So that'll be it for Silly Man. We're at that 15-minute mark. So that was a terrible argument for God that I never heard before. He's right. I never heard that argument for God before. It's probably the worst one. All right, Eagle One, go ahead and come on up if you would like. I already sent you an invite. If you would like to come on up and have this discussion, we can go ahead and have this discussion. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and end the live probably in a few more minutes. Again, y'all, appreciate y'all for being up here. I appreciate everybody who was watching me on Twitch. For the Twitch people who are watching, I appreciate that. Please follow me. I'm trying to grow over on Twitch as well. For people who are watching on YouTube, I appreciate y'all for watching me on YouTube. Y'all awesome. And let's see, yeah, I got some good views on YouTube. I got some good views on Twitch. I appreciate you all being out there. Y'all can go ahead and link in my bio. Y'all can follow me on YouTube as well. And y'all can follow me on Twitch as well. Yeah, Eagle, go ahead and come on up. I'm not, because you're talking in the comments, and I don't like to talk to the comments. All right, y'all, we got 5.2K likes, 41 people in the building. Let's go ahead and keep liking this up. Let's go ahead and try to get to like at least 6K likes. I want to get probably one more guest, and I'm trying to get out of here. For anyone who's watching me on YouTube, I do have a guest link that you can join. I'm on vertical, so you're gonna have to take a screenshot of it and then click it that way. If you're watching me on Twitch, probably gotta do the same thing. I'm not sure if Twitch allows for you to has like clickable links if you're not on desktop. But if you would like to go ahead to the folks watching me on Twitch, I see it's 2 of y'all out there. I'm still trying to grow my Twitch, y'all. So go ahead and follow it. We all gotta start from somewhere. And all the folks following me on YouTube, I appreciate y'all as well. Go ahead and click on that link if you'd like to join in on the conversation. I might just bring up one more guest. I've already told Eagle to come up. He hasn't come up yet. And I think Chris, that'll probably be like a part 3 or 4 for me and Chris, because I talk to Chris a lot. But yeah, I think we've had some good conversations tonight. Sarah Bus, I appreciate Sarah Dubs. That's your name, Sarah Dubs. I appreciate you, Sarah Dubs. All right, Chris, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, boss.
All right. So round 3. All right. What you got for me?
Okay. I think a lot of people get confused about my view, but I don't see how evolution and creationism are mutually exclusive. I think they can coexist.
Creationism and evolution. Then they can coexist. Like, so do you believe like in theistic evolution? Like God guided evolution?
Yes.
I have no beef with that. If you think God guided evolution, now, like I said before, I don't see any evidence for a God. But if someone believes in God and thinks that God just guided the path of evolution, yeah, sure. I don't have a much beef with that. It's much more scientific than creationism.
Okay. And then also, I don't think people use faith as a path to truth, right? Faith is it's just a way of living to me. Like faith, I understand faith that is connected almost irreconcilably with religion and stuff like that. But faith to me is I would say, I've been trying to figure out how to word it, courage in the face of uncertainty is what I would say faith is to me. Like that definition, what they use in scripture when it says things that I hope for, but I'm not certain of. I would say I would word it like that.
Yeah, faith is hope for and evidence of things not seen. Yeah. If you're using faith as a verb in that way, then we're all gonna have it, right? Like, I have to I guess if I'm going into something scary, like if I hope that my wife survives her pregnancy or whatever. Yeah, sure. You can call that faith. I'm guessing. Like I have faith in the doctors are gonna treat her right or whatever. I'm pretty sure you can call that faith, but it's more to me that's more a colloquial term. The way that we use faith is more confidence because we have evidence of them. We have evidence of them being professionals. You see what I'm saying? Because they're hired by doctors. Faith in the way that that we're using it here is more on a religious or supernatural terms. Basically, they believe something exists but don't really have the proof of it.
But and that's why I would draw a dividing line between belief and faith. Belief is what I accept as true. Faith is how I respond to things I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that because that's how we colloquially use the word. Yeah, sure, I can understand that.
Okay, so and I think that's the way it's used in scripture actually. Like when it says Abraham is the father of faith, right? He was doing his thing, right? So he was walking with courage, even though he was uncertain. He didn't know where he was going, but he kept on going because he trusted whatever was telling him to move forward. So,
right. Sure. Just trust without any type of evidence. Essentially, that's what faith is.
Correct. Yeah, trust without it, trusting a process, trusting that moving forward is good. So I don't think it's necessarily has to be tied to a religion or a belief or things like that. It's just the way I operate. Like if I move from Texas to California, but I'm not sure of a job opportunity, I'm not sure of anything, I'm doing that based on faith that something will pop up.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what I think is not a pathway to the truth, because you can take something completely on faith and be wrong about it.
Yeah, but that faith actually helps you actualize it. Because I know plenty of people who move from different states on a dream, and guess what? A lot of people have failed. I understand that, but some people, guess what? They went from wherever they were, out
and
there
succeeded.
to Hollywood stars and guess what? Millionaires, multimillionaires, things like that.
And
So
succeeded, yeah. So it's basically like a 50-50. You know what I mean? That's why I said it's not very reliable. Because yeah, sure, like someone like Kevin Hart, you know what I mean, just moved out to Hollywood and made it big. You know what I mean? Because he was just that talented. But that doesn't mean my cousin who wants to be a comedian can do the same thing, you know?
but also that's why it says faith without works is dead. So if I go out there on faith, but I'm not willing to pursue my dreams or work hard at trying to improve myself, then what was the purpose of the faith if I'm just doing it blindly with just if I'm trusting like there's well let me say it like this: blind faith is wrong. I would believe say that, but if I'm not willing to take the steps, so faith can lead not it won't lead you to truth, but it can lead you to something better.
The thing is, what I've always pointed out to people is that someone can do something, someone can do all the right things and still fail. You know what I mean? So a person can go out, move somewhere to pursue their dreams, work extremely hard at it, and never reach the dream. That happens.
Never, but they can never reach like let's say a specific dream. But I also know I have like this is literally my family. I have cousins that went out there for that purpose, but they found a different path. Someone went into Silicon Valley and started building tech and things like that. So they're still successful. It's just not what they dreamed of doing when they got out there. So that's part of like operating on faith. Like it's like I don't
Right,
think
and
I
some
think the
folks go
journey
out
is
there
more
and
important than the destination.
right, and some folks go out there and yeah, sure, I could agree with that. Journey is more important than destination, and some folks go out there and just become homeless and have to move back. You know what I mean? There are a lot more misses than hits. You feel me? We just pay attention to all the rags to riches story and don't realize that there are a lot more people who go out there and have to move back home because it just didn't work out.
Yeah, and I will agree with that. So it's like
Yeah, man. All right, not a problem, Chris. I appreciate you. I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate us always talking.
all right.
All
Have a
right.
good night, boss.
You too. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. I appreciate everybody who watched me on YouTube. I appreciate all the folks who watched me on Twitch. I appreciate all the folks who ran across me on Instagram. Talking here. I appreciate everybody who watched me on YouTube. I appreciate all the folks who watched me on Twitch. I appreciate. Have a good night. I am starving, so I'm gonna go ahead and get something to eat. I have to go ahead and go to work tomorrow again, so I appreciate y'all. Please follow me, y'all. Follow me on YouTube. I'm trying to grow, get monetized because I really want to go ahead and probably try to use this as to supplement my income. It would be great if I were able to do that. Please consider subscribing because you get a whole bunch of cool emojis. I should go ahead and put them in the chat to see for y'all can see all the emojis that I get. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night out there.